What is going on, everybody? This is episode 519 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy National Spaghetti Day. I hope you enjoy a bowl of spaghetti today for that reason. What's wrong? You have a problem with that?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, it is. TMZ told me. Anyway, okay. Phil is here.
Hi, everybody. I'm a fan of spaghetti.
Are you going to honor National Spaghetti Day?
Probably not, but
too many carbs.
What?
Too many carbs.
Yeah, actually, yeah, there's a lot of carbs. But I don't have any protein pasta at the apartment. So,
right.
How you doing? I'm Phil Labonte. I sing for the heavy metal band All That Remains.
Yeah, dude, it's good to be back from the holidays. You have a good one?
Yeah, it is good to be back. I really enjoy hanging out with you guys and hanging out down here and stuff. The holiday was wonderful. Everybody in my family is everybody made it through the year. My nephews are, well, one of them is about to not be a teenager anymore, and the other one's still got a couple of years to go. But both of them don't want to cut their bodies up, so that's good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
It is. They're good kids. They're asking to get together with Uncle Phil to shoot guns because Mom's a little bit on the normie side and is afraid of guns. And they're actually cool dudes. No, she's not at all. Well, she is cool with me teaching them, but she's very this is how I want the instruction to be, and I'm like, you've never fired a gun. What the hell are you talking about? What are you telling me?
I know about instruction.
Yeah, I've taught a ton of people how to shoot. I've been to 15 classes or something like that. I go to one every year, and she's like, you need to teach them like this. Okay, Kay. Okay, but I do.
Is this your sister or sister-in-law?
Sister.
Okay.
Sister by blood. She's a little bit older than me. I love her to death, but she's a bank manager normie, so I love her. I'm super fortunate that I don't have anybody in my family that I have beef. Some people are just I don't like this person or whatever. I'm super fortunate that I don't. So
that stuff is always the most black-pilling to me. The people who are I just cut my family out of my life.
Yeah.
I'm that's depressing.
Don't do it. Yeah, don't do it.
Super depressing.
Find
even
out
if you disagree with them on literally everything, the family is the tie that binds.
Yep.
Hold on to it, right? Oh, but Tiffany Gomez likes to shoot guns. I saw that on Twitter today.
We were talking. I don't know what she's marketing except herself.
Just herself.
But she's not doing anything. Most people that market themselves are actually kind of doing something.
She's not selling anything.
Yeah, even your OnlyFans girls, they're selling their OnlyFans stuff.
Does she have
learn to play
deals?
piano or something, Tiffany.
She needs brand deals and stuff like that, so she's at least selling a product.
She got the Barstool brand deal.
That is true.
For the Christmas sweater.
And I do now have that MFR is not real sweatshirt that I wore over the holidays. So so we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video, and please, 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 if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so. We have passed 91,500 subscribers. We are on our way to 100,000, which is a huge deal for us, so please go ahead and do that. It's going to be fantastic. Also remember that all super chats, $20 and over, we will interrupt the discussion. We'll read them right then and there, and then we'll get back on topic. Also share the video with your friends. We want more people to come in here, hang out. If they watch the live stream, then hopefully they will share the video with their friends. Like I said, it's like a multi-level marketing scam. It's fantastic. We'll get more people to watch the show, and we will blow up and be huge, huge, as Donald would say. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, guys, I've said multiple times that there's no group in the world that I feel worse for than Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans are among the most harmed people on planet Earth. This is shown to be true in many senses. Now, especially as the new director for the new Rey Solo film, she has said that, her favorite thing to do in the world is to make men uncomfortable. And this is the woman that they have put at the head of the next Star Wars franchise film.
Lady, you're making me uncomfortable. It's not just the men.
What I thought was funny about it is as I was curating all of the information for this topic, I was looking through everybody's comments on it. And when I came in today and Mary came in, I was like, it's really so bad that I don't even know how to make a thumbnail for this because nothing about it will actually encapsulate.
Yeah, it's so bad that you can't even put it into words because everything is an understatement. Saying that this woman hates men is an understatement. And saying that Star Wars fans are getting kicked while they're down is an understatement. It's worse than that. I mean, Star Wars was already over, and now it's just going into dark matter. I don't know how to explain it. They're getting just fully beaten and kicked while they're down and given the middle finger.
So do you guys think that Star Wars fans are still like have hope?
No,
Yeah.
I know what it is I think that I made the point the other day. I think people want to like stuff, and people they're always kind of, you lose a great amount of them with each go, but you're always going to have those few that hold on and just want to give it another shot. But before it's all said and done, it's just going to be a bunch of YouTubers crapping on this stuff because nobody's going to watch it. But if you go to this director's Instagram channel where she made this announcement, it's all people supporting her. So these are the normies and the people that are like diehards.
But those aren't Star Wars fans. Do you believe they're Star Wars?
I believe they're Disney Star Wars fans. I believe they're fans of Disney.
Okay.
In the ideology that,
because I feel like
they're not old school Star Wars fans,
and they've lost. I mean, I feel like if I understand correctly, there's been significant downturn in toy sales and basically a significant downturn in actual fans. They managed to botch what has essentially been was handed a home run, automatic money printing machine. And I don't think that any, like me, I grew up with Star Wars. I saw the first one when I was real little in the theaters, and like real little, but still, I don't think that any of us are left.
Yeah, the very, very few. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about Kanye West's crisis of faith. I saw Shane Cashman talking about this the other day. A lot of the people that have supported him through what has gone on recently, in the last couple of years, all of these controversies are starting to take a different look at him, and they see him in a different light now. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about this absolutely unhinged Kevin Spacey interview on Tucker that came out before Christmas that I'm not going to lie, a part of me had a lot of fun watching this thing because I love House of Cards. So I watched this and I was like, okay, yeah, he's a sociopath. Sure, he's a bad person, but,
Is he a good actor if that's just who he is?
He's a fantastic actor anyways, but yeah.
He's a sociopath playing a sociopath. It's not difficult.
It's a role he was born for. So we're getting into that. Also, Mary has curated this information that says that according to her, she believes that Ben Affleck is not only like being buck-broken by his wife, but that Matt Damon, his best friend of many, many years, is very, very jealous and unhappy.
Well, no, I wouldn't say jealous.
I think he's jealous.
You think that Matt Damon is jealous of Jennifer Lopez for taking up all of Ben Affleck's time?
Yeah, that's what happens.
It's a common phenomenon. If any of you in the chat have experienced this with a friend of yours, a male friend who gets a girlfriend, you never hear from him again.
They just disappear.
Tell us your stories.
Yeah. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff to talk about today, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please go ahead, leave a comment in the chat. I didn't put a poll up today. I didn't have anything specific to ask.
Someone asked in a super chat, chicken Alfredo or spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Always.
We could do that as the poll.
Well, yeah, you talk then, and I'll write it out here.
Well, okay, then here's my official answer. It depends, like, if it's homemade or if it's from a crappy restaurant. Because if I went to Olive Garden, like, the spaghetti and meatballs is going to be rank.
All right, here's a thing that I think that you generally should do, or at least I do. If you are going to talk about decision 1 or decision 2 when it comes to food, it should always be assumed that the preparation is top notch.
Oh,
so
well,
under best conditions, even when you're talking about Taco Bell, like there is Taco Bell that's like put together right, like not with like anger and pissed off that you're bothering the guy.
Never buy fast food right before they close.
No, never do that. But like everything, so just as a general thing, if you're talking, I kind of say assume that it's good.
So what were the options again? Spaghetti or chicken Alfredo?
Spaghetti and meatballs or chicken Alfredo.
Oh, keep going. I got
chicken Alfredo. I guess with that new rule in mind, I would choose spaghetti and meatballs then. A guideline.
I'm okay. The poll is officially live right now. I choose spaghetti.
I mean, doesn't that make sense, chat?
Yeah.
Have you ever had one of those things happen where, like, if you get sick at a time when you eat something very specific, you can never eat it again? Has that ever happened to you?
I mean, there's a lot of...
What do you mean?
So you eat something and then you don't get sick from that, but you get the flu or something, and like your body now then associates that food with being sick.
No.
That was spaghetti and meatballs for me for like a very long time. So I ate spaghetti and meatballs, like it was like in like, we're talking like back in like 2015, and I got like the sickest I had ever been, and I didn't eat spaghetti and meatballs for like 5 years.
Do either of you guys cook?
Yeah.
You cook?
A little here
Not
and
regularly.
there.
No.
Not regularly either.
Yeah. So the poll is live, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Spaghetti and Meatballs is in the lead with 57%. So go ahead and cast your votes.
It's
All right,
National
guys.
Spaghetti Day. Like, you have to vote for it.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. Home team advantage. Let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? I found this very interesting. Just to start, it says that the 2023 global box office reached $33.9 billion, which is a 31% improvement over the year before. And I think the American box office counted for either 9 or 11 billion of that, which means that India and China make up a great portion of the rest of that.
It's so funny how disconnected something like Bollywood is from Hollywood. Like, it's just a totally different consumer taste in every possible way, because they're not poisoned with irony and sarcasm like people in the West are.
I don't follow like Bollywood accounts, but I get a lot of videos like on my For You page of just like hot Bollywood women. Not kidding. Like not like acting, but like going to these red carpet press events.
There are some Indian women that are just like make you stammer pretty.
And then you worry
Priyanka
about
Chopra is all pressed that she didn't make it in Bollywood. And
I don't know who that is.
Nick Jonas's wife.
Does she look like a foot, or is she pretty?
No, she's pretty.
She's
pretty, but she's just always like crapping on Bollywood because she thinks it's misogynist.
Yep. So
It's India. Isn't India a fairly misogynist society?
Yeah, I mean, what would you expect?
Well, I mean, so yeah.
So yeah, like I follow these accounts, and it's like there's like several people that I follow that don't speak a word of English, and I never know what they're saying. I just like, it's like there's like people that skate that like I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know what he's saying, but I like that guy. Yeah, I can't always get Google Translate. So.
Well, they didn't show any example of a non-American movie in here.
No, they used only American examples for this. But yeah, like 2023, and look, the box office did bounce back this year. It's just nowhere near the levels that it was at in 2019 when Endgame came out before COVID happened and ruined everything for everybody. But I still get annoyed when they used COVID as their excuse for why the box office isn't doing well. That's not the reason why. You're just making crappy movies. Sorry, guys. All right, and speaking of that, Aquaman, this is the saddest. This came right as we went live, and this is the saddest thing I've ever read. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is now the highest grossing movie, DC movie of 2023. This is what it's made. $272 million.
Yeah.
What'd they spend on it?
250 or with marketing, probably closer to 3 or 350. Yeah, like with it doesn't matter. Like
whoever
movie,
wrote that out was laughing.
and it's only made 85 million in the U.S. So that's really sad. That's just really sad.
And then Superman Legacy doesn't look like it's going to be any improvement.
Superman Legacy?
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit, guys. So Superman Legacy is the new Superman movie that's being made by James Gunn, which has been in the works for quite a while now. You could actually probably blame James Gunn a little bit for just how bad the failure of the end of the DCEU was, because they made this announcement for James Gunn's new universe while they were still finishing out their films, and he has been releasing information little by little as stuff has come out. But there's an interview with this actress who she auditioned for the role of Lois Lane. That's a problem because the stuff she has to say about what the process was like. She did this.
Before we get into it, do you think she just based on looks alone? Do you think she looks like a good Lois Lane?
She could have been. She looks like Kate Winslet. When she
Personally,
Yes,
I like a brunette Lois Lane.
well, they would have dyed her. They likely would have dyed her hair.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, she didn't get
They
the
didn't
role.
dye what's her name's hair. The last chick that played Lois Lane. Although I thought I love that actress, and
Amy Adams?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think she's great, but like they didn't dye her hair.
This says she was in the final round of contenders to play Lois Lane. Quote, "It was a whirlwind, and then I realized that it was over, but it was great. Lois saves Superman. She's the brains. She's actually the fearless one."
Oh God, I hate this.
I've got some thoughts on this. Number one being that it's very common for actors to be self-aggrandizing when they do these things. How many script pages did she even get to read, really?
Well, she had to have signed an NDA. That means she can't talk about the script anyway.
Yeah, so it's very self-aggrandizing, but it's very in line with the idea that this is what Hollywood is now. The guy can't have the heroic moments. The guy has to be saved by the woman. But also, I think what's funny is that she says that she's the fearless one. Well, technically, being fearless isn't. I think what they would say in these movies is that being fearless isn't necessarily heroic. Being a hero is being scared, but going through with something anyways, right? Being scared, but still going and doing what you have to do to save the day. So I don't know if that's actually even a fair argument.
Why are you running interference for her?
I'm not. I'm making an argument against her.
Okay.
But I'm saying she's wrong. Well, I'm saying what she's saying is wrong.
She's the brains. So Superman is dumb.
Yes, Superman is dumb.
And he's scared.
Yep.
He's a panicky male lead. Thanks a lot, James Gunn. This is going to be great.
I don't think that it'll end up being like this once it hits the cutting room floor, though. But to be fair, I think James Gunn is a fantastic director most of the time. But I don't know how he's going to do on a Superman movie.
Fearless or stupid? Good question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
So it's stupid, but I think a lot of times these actors they write these things about themselves that are very, very self-aggrandizing. So we'll see where this goes. I don't really have any faith in this franchise anyways because I'm kind of over superhero movies. None of the superhero movies that came out this year really spoke to me at all.
Well, you said that people were kind of pissed at you because you're not pissed off that Sherlock just got race swapped.
Oh yeah, well.
Sherlock got race swapped?
No, Watson got.
Watson did.
Watson got race swapped. Okay, so this is what's happening. So
they're making the person of color subordinate to a white man.
Yeah.
Way to go, racist.
In this one, no, Sherlock is dead. In this one, there's no Sherlock has already died at the hands of Moriarty.
He was subordinate.
He was in the past, right? So what's funny about this is it says it's a medical drama starring an actor named Morris Chestnut, who's actually a really,
funny name.
He's a really good actor, actually. He's a tall dude, good screen presence, has a really, really calm delivery, which could work for the character of Watson. But
I thought Watson was supposed to be a little bit more nervous.
He's supposed to have like IBS.
They're gonna do something different here, where they're gonna do flashbacks, and he'll likely be more nervous in the flashbacks than he is in the present day. At least that's how I would imagine they do it. I don't think they cast this guy for a nervous role. That, or they haven't really thought through the character, right?
Which would be very in character for Hollywood nowadays.
But here's the thing. I don't think that this is going to get the backlash that these other projects are getting, and that's because when it's on network TV, it tends to miss the culture war. This is on CBS, which is a demographic network that skews much older. 50s, 60s, and older for the audience. And plenty of shows which have done this before have made long runs. So there's a crappy Equalizer show that's still on network television starring Queen Latifah. The Equalizer is not a woman. It's awful. It's still on the air. Okay, there was Magnum PI with a Hispanic actor. That's not Tom Selleck. Got 5 or 6 seasons. The show Elementary, which race and gender swapped Watson, got 8 seasons and still went a long, long time. Your parents aren't going to care that they race swapped this character. They're not. They're going to be like, oh, look. And basically they're saying that he goes and he's like working on extremely difficult medical cases. So it's just the show House with this actor, which is funny because the show House, actually, the character of House is based on Sherlock Holmes.
But with the flashbacks, they haven't announced who's going to play Sherlock in any of those. And this was announced with another CBS show called The Pact, which is partly produced by the NAACP.
Yes.
Just LOL, LMAO even.
Look, these are the type of shows like your parents aren't going to care. Like they don't, right? They're going to put this on and they're going to be like, oh, that's fun. That's interesting. It's going to have halfway decent network television production value, just enough to keep it on in the background. And nobody's really going to have much to say.
This is not going to be on streaming platforms.
No, it's going to be it got straight to order for network television. Even one of the first comments here says this feels very 2010. And I pointed out when I said this, is look, I liked the Sherlock, the show Elementary, but it's Sherlock Holmes in name only. It's almost in no way, it references the Arthur Conan Doyle stories. It pulls from them very, very, very little. But for the most part, it's a police procedural. But going into that, knowing that and not expecting it to be like the actual stories gives you an advantage. But if you go in there expecting it to be like any of the other adaptations, whether it be any of the movie adaptations, whether you're talking about the Benedict Cumberbatch, the Cucumberbatch show, which I really, really like as well, it's not that in any way, shape, or form. It's for old people.
Yeah, I have big nostalgia for the cucumber version.
Love that. Except for like when he gets the password unlocked and it says Sherlocked. I think I like actively groaned when I saw that the first time. But yeah, don't expect this thing to necessarily get canceled right away. Everyone's like, get woke, go broke. I'm like, no. get woke, stay in the sphere where nobody cares, and you'll be fine. Nobody's going to know, nobody's going to care. So I think this show goes at least 2 or 3 seasons before getting yanked, if not more. People just won't care. I did also point out, though, that like they did a show called The Bone Collector, which is based on a book. It was also a 1999 movie with Denzel Washington. I noticed they didn't race swap the Lincoln Rhyme character and make him white, but maybe I'm asking too much there. That they do that. They did it with Russell Hornsby, who's no Denzel Washington, but network TV gets away with a whole lot more because people nobody's watching it anymore.
Even if you're watching it, you're not watching it to watch it.
But even in the 90s, like network TV got away with way more. Even when like you didn't have the option of like being on your phone or whatever and stuff. Like you look at like the quality of like Hercules and
a lot of people
Xena
still
and
love
stuff.
that show.
No, and I'm not trying to crap on it. It's just there's a distinct difference in quality between those shows and then like full feature movies back then,
Yeah, like I look at this stuff and it's like there's shows on network television now that have been on the air since I was in high school.
Yeah, I mean,
Law and Order SVU will be is almost as old as Mary.
That's the
Really?
It might be older than Mary.
Really?
It might be older than. Does anybody know what year that show came out?
2000?
Google knows.
Probably. It's maybe not that old because Criminal Intent was around that time period. But yeah, it's pretty old. So a lot of
unless
these shows,
the show is on streaming, no one on social media is going to talk about it.
Yeah.
1999. So yeah, I think it is older than Mary.
Wow.
Still going.
And Taylor Swift.
There you go. So
No.
Not 1989?
1999.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it is what it is. I think this show ends up being a disaster for people who actually care. But your mom and your dad are going to tune into it, and they're going to be like, "Oh, well, that's just novel. That looks good." And like I said, they already did this with the show House, which they'll never be able to make as good because House is a masterpiece. At least the first 5 seasons are. So yeah, guys, just funny. And then what else do we got here, Mary? We've got Aubrey Huff.
We're
You have to
living
explain
in
the situation to this.
Yes, so we're now living in the nuclear winter of what is now known as CakeGate on Twitter. The massive Twitter meltdown over a conservative influencer's video of her baking a cake in a tight t-shirt. Really, people actually had meltdowns over this. And it seems like now a former MLB player named Aubrey Huff has completely retreated from social media, deleted his entire account because he was one of the people sending her flack for this video. And she responded with a screenshot of a DM that he sent her on Christmas Day, asking her to get drinks with him and make bad decisions together.
Again, I have to point out, I've yet to see an example of really, really strong internet game from one of these dudes who gets called out for his bad pickup lines.
She simply said, "This you?" And the screenshot shows him DMing her on Christmas saying, "Hey, beautiful, let's collab over cocktails and bad decisions." And the first thing in this man's bio says, "Proud father."
I mean,
You can still love your kids and be a scumbag, I guess, towards your wife.
well, I don't think he's married.
Right?
He's not married.
Well,
not
yes, obviously the last thing in his bio says, "Click the link in my bio to help support my alimony payments."
What? No.
This whole guy's existence is kind of embarrassing. So
What?
he had, this screenshot posted and he was getting clowned on real bad. And he just decided to delete his entire account. And it looks like she came out on top in this particular back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, look, if why chime in on something like that, right? Like this is
She curved you.
Well, yeah, and then
Do
chime
not
in
draw
afterwards.
attention to
Yeah,
it.
you
seem like you're bitter that she didn't respond to
That's what
your
it is.
DM.
Mm-hmm.
So you insulted her, and then she exposed you for doing so.
Mm-hmm.
He walked right into that one.
Obviously, you don't.
That was a slam dunk.
Yeah,
Like,
obviously.
Are you stupid? Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
He thought that the DMs were sacrosanct, and they
That's
weren't
the
gonna get
thing.
mentioned.
Like, I mean, you have to understand that she's gonna do that.
Oh,
Like,
and also he specifically told her that she has delusional self-worth and a desperate need for attention.
he said that to her.
Yeah. Bro, I think it's you that has a desperate need for attention. if you were DMing an Instagram model on Christmas Day asking her to get cocktails with you and make bad decisions.
I thought somebody said he was married, so he's just divorced.
Yeah, he's not married.
Okay.
Clearly
So
is.
I was like, that's even worse.
It would be worse if you were
it'd be way
married.
worse.
Yes.
It'd be it would actually, I mean, this is like embarrassing, like it's bad behavior
Yeah.
and it's a bad call, but it's not actually bad. Like, and actually it's not even really like him sliding into her DMs and even saying that isn't even technically really bad behavior because he was polite. It was maybe it was a little cringy because you're not attracted to him. But if it was someone that happened to think he was attractive, it would be like he's not like it wasn't a dick pic.
He clearly liked her on Christmas Day and no longer liked her a week later.
That's use baseball puns. Let me hit a home run or something.
What did he say about her? What did he say about her?
I can't see the exact post because he deleted his account, but he accused her of having delusional self-worth and a desperate need for attention.
Oh, yeah. The cat fight between Isabella, whatever the name is, and Rachel is proof that most of today's women even know their sexuality is all they bring to the table, complete with a desperate need for attention, crippling debt, drama. See, all that other shit, like, you don't need to go on and on like that. He
was bitter about getting rejected.
Yes.
It's just rough, man. It's a rough go of it for someone like that. I wonder if he just didn't, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that you're going to get, I think that a big part of social media, I think I was saying this to you earlier, I said, I really do feel like people have low impulse control. When it comes to responding, they cannot help themselves. They have to say something.
You said it's bad emotional regulation, essentially.
They don't know how to, because I mean, that's kind of how headlines are designed, right? And the thing is I don't know if it started this way because I wasn't on Twitter, and actually I was on Twitter back then, but I didn't use it very often, and I deleted that account. But I don't know if Twitter speak evolved to be what it is now, but the way people talk on Twitter, almost without knowing it, is nothing like how you talk in the real world, and it's almost always in a way that makes other people defensive. It's snarky. It's over the top.
Yeah.
And it puts people on edge. So there's something about the way people were talking about this in relation to the Epstein files. They're because they were talking people were making jokes about Stephen Hawking.
It's not Twitter. I would venture that it's not Twitter though. It's on the internet because you get the same kind
internet in general.
You'll see it on Instagram, and you really used to see it when people were talking on message boards. Message boards were brutal, especially obviously 4chan or the chants and stuff. But even before, in the 90s, I was on Metal Maniacs had a website with a message board. From the it was an old metal magazine.
The old skating message boards were this is why
it's total anonymity and lack of consequences.
Yep.
This is what I love about it too, because for us, the reason why I wasn't either.
I was always trying to hawk my band.
The reason why I laugh today when people talk about negative comments and stuff is in skating, for instance, back in the day, you posted your edits and then you went to the comment section and you just get brutalized. You just get brutalized, and that's what you expect to happen. The best used it as a way to improve themselves. They learned to separate the legitimate criticism from the people who are just trying to be jerks, and they used it as a way to improve and figure out things to work on. We don't live in that world anymore. There's just too much input. I
just find it hilarious that a right-wing Twitter spat made headline news in a mainstream media outlet like the New York Post. Yep. I mean, guys, we're scaring the hose. Your Twitter disputes are scaring the hose. You need to stop.
Well, I was saying this is not, you're not building any type of rapport with the people that you're looking to attract, right?
It makes you look insane.
All of it
to spiral like this in
Phil
public.
Pointed it out when you talked about it in IRL. Said, look, Trump got taken off the ballot in Maine while all this stuff is going on, and nobody's talking about it. And I said, if you're going to argue about this and you can't tell me the name of any of your local school board members and you claim to care about these things, then because I don't care. I don't need to know. I don't care. But if you claim to care about politics, if you claim to care about what's going on within the political sphere, then you better be able to tell me the name of your local officials if you want to waste your time arguing about this stuff on the internet with people when big, important federal decisions are being made that are going to supposedly affect your ballot choices in the next election.
I just think it's bad priorities to be arguing with people on Twitter in general on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's a faux pas to be, going back and forth with people.
Was this going on? It was on Christmas Day, wasn't it?
The calendar gate thing started on Christmas Day, and they were actually going back and forth with each other on Christmas Day. People who have children. I mean, at least if you don't have children, you have downtime, but spend that time with your family and not on your phone.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not super judgy about what people are doing, but like the idea that there's a problem with this woman who was just making a cake. Like, there are people that were talking about, oh, well, it was just her boobs and blah, blah, blah. The woman is just built that way. Like, leave her alone about that. Any picture that you see of her or whatever, unless she's wearing like something that is intended to hide her boobs, is going to look like that. Just people are making a stink about it. It's just like you said, or just like we said on IRL, and I don't want to make this political, but it's like, conservatives are always getting distracted by the most ridiculous things.
Well, what I posted like 30 minutes ago was it's ridiculous to argue that people posting things like that on social media is not a way to seek attention, but it's equally ridiculous to argue that that's inherently a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because
we all do it.
Yeah, like just the existence of Instagram. Or, that people, or you have an Instagram. That's what the Instagram is for, is to share your life. And dudes do take pictures of things more than they take pictures of themselves. And women tend to take pictures of themselves with a thing if they're like, that's all real and true. But it's just the way that it is. And it's nothing to sit there and hate on the opposite sex for. It's nothing to hate on people for, It's like,
maybe what it is, maybe it's a good sign. I can think of two ways in which this is a good thing.
Okay.
So maybe it's an ode to multitasking.
Wait, the Aubrey Huff part?
No,
or
the posting on Christmas part. So
okay, all right.
Maybe what it is that people are just getting so good at multitasking that they're able to spend time with their family while also typing out their arguments. Or it means that them and their family are getting along rather than arguing, so they had to go find somebody else to argue with. Normally you argue with your family on holidays.
Yeah. Direct your anger and hate towards your family members like a good person would.
Yeah, be a human being, would you? Argue with your argue with your uncle, your crazy right-wing uncle, right? Or does that mean that the people this is where all the crazy right-wing uncles were on Christmas Day this year? Somebody should write an article like the great right-wing uncle exodus of 2023, and they ask where were all the crazy right-wing uncles over the holidays, and it was Calendargate. That's what was going on.
I was actually sitting at dinner with my family.
Yeah, there you go.
But
As you should.
Probably am the crazy right-wing uncle, I think.
It happens.
Actually,
right?
yes, you are.
Am I?
Crazy Uncle Phil.
These stories, I just can't believe the guy didn't think he was going to get outed for.
I mean,
it's a bad look.
Yeah.
It happens. Phil, I got to get your take on this. Did you see I saw you posted about the Green Day lyric change.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Whatever.
Well, in case any of you missed it, Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day changed one of his lyrics in American Idiot to say, "I'm not a part of the MAGA agenda," in a performance on New Year's Eve.
Whatever. It's just.
What was your story? You said somebody you knew toured with them back in the day. When
a buddy of mine was on tour with them in 2004, on election night. Was on tour with them.
Brett, show this picture of him.
And when the results came in 2004 that George Bush was going to win, they were like, "Oh, okay, well."
Which one is in the USA Today?
I was looking at the Guardian one. I just think this guy needs to stop dyeing his hair black.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it also reminded me of like we just got the comments that Rage Against the Machine is no longer going on tour.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to be making any music anymore. And this might be just speculate. Well, no, it's my imagination running wild with me. I feel like Tom, I feel like the band is legit and they're pretty all like authentic, and I feel like Tom is not. Because like Tom is like super industry and super like in the industry. He's in multiple bands. He's like on the Grammy committee or whatever. So he's really bought into the whole like Hollywood entertainment business stuff. And if the other dudes are like, no, we should literally all go to Mexico and fight with the Zapatistas, and Tom's like, no, we should stay in LA where I can go ahead and blah blah. It might have been that. And like I said, this is all just my imagination, but that's what I like to imagine it as. They don't like Tom because he's not honest about his left wingness.
But do you think that a lot of it is that like when they were Rage Against the Machine, which was anti-establishment, that's because we were a more conservative, like the political establishment in this country did lean conservative.
We were liberals.
We were, so him being more of an actual leftist means that he's just part of the machine now.
Well, yeah.
Because they say rage on behalf of the machine, like something's changed. I said, it's not necessarily that he changed, it's that the system changed to agree with them.
Absolutely. The system definitely did. The fact that it is now in vogue and political chic to be a leftist to the point where you abandon things like free speech or like free exchange, the kind of actual authoritarian stuff that's having significant repercussions in HR departments, in corporate America, and in the actual federal government. I mean, look at what's going on at Harvard. You know, with the president and stuff. That's the normal thing now, and you can't rage against the machine when you're saying the same things that Pfizer's saying.
I see so much. I watch a lot of old television, as people know, and it's always funny when I watch these shows where there's an anti-establishment character, and you know how they always signal to you an anti-establishment character back in the day? Che Guevara shirt.
Yep.
Che Guevara shirt, always. It's very, very droll and boring and predictable, but that's how they did it back in the day. But that's Hollywood. Have you ever watched there's like a couple of movies on both Che Guevara and also on Fidel Castro that are actually not bad films.
Not documentaries?
They're not documentaries. They're actual movies. I'll see if I can find them this weekend.
I thought people were mad at the James Franco casting.
Yes, but he's actually, I think, closer than people realize. Well, we might cover that again when that comes. That's not out yet, right? That comes out next year or something like that. So we might cover that when we get to it. So yeah, and Elon Musk also basically dunked on them a little bit for this, and I like it when Elon Musk gets involved. It's always funny.
He just said Green Day goes from raging against the machine to milk toastedly raging for it.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, what would you guys perhaps like to see? We've got a bunch. We got cringe of the day and cute of the day. The cringe is really cringe today.
Yeah, let's start with cute then.
You want to start with cute? Let's go cute of the day first. All right, here we go. First one here is from Half Baked Treehouse. Says, happy belated Christmas and New Year's from the Half Baked compound. Zeus loves his stuffy some much. I don't know what that means. His stuffy some much?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not me.
So much.
So much. Okay. He refused his Christmas gift from my niece. She was a bit confused, but we explained to her that it wasn't personal. Well, that happens.
He's like begrudgingly taking your Christmas photos.
Oh, the sweater, man. I'm pretty
Brett has a pet peeve about people putting their pets in clothes.
Why?
I think it's
humiliating to them.
Pardon
Why?
me?
You're humiliating them.
No.
It's humiliating.
They don't have that complex understanding of the world around them.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say they do. It's, whether I'm right or not is irrelevant.
If they did, they would notice when poop is hanging from their buttholes. They don't.
I still say, well, then have some dignity
and they look so comfy and cozy.
We do. We clean them.
They've got fur. They don't need the sweater. Let's do two more.
Wrong.
This one here is from Cookie Don 2015. Cat in a box. For those who are wondering, yes, she was taken to.
Don't they all come in boxes?
And they were checked by the vet for her nose, so they were double checking to make sure she was okay.
I thought they always came in boxes.
What's wrong with her nose?
Looks like what was it? Injured?
Oh, I just thought it was naturally white.
Tried to smell a fan.
And let's do one more. Also, guys, submit your pets here so that we can keep adding them. We need more. This one is from Kyle Dixon. Says, heard you were low on cute, so allow me to introduce Miss Mildred, the newest mutt to grace our little family. She is being tutored by Caroline to be a good crisis actor and one day hopes to achieve certified derp status.
We love crisis actors of all species here. Mildred is a cute name.
That is very cute. All right, guys, we got some cringe here as well today. Madonna.
Yeah. You're already laughing.
There is. I don't know that I can or that I endorse this being cringe. This is hilarious.
I wasn't prepared to see that.
I'm gonna leave the music and risk the copyright because it's better with the music.
Yeah, it makes
Look at this.
the video what it is.
It's like a sci-fi movie stuffed with potato salad, moving around.
I went to at least one rave like this in my life. Look at her.
Come on.
She's got the harness there, so it's clearly like an elevated stage.
I guess, yeah.
But it does look like basically they gave her a grab bar because she's old and she's getting into the tub.
65.
Oh,
or something like that. You know, Susanna Hoffs is like 65, and she looks awesome.
It's
there
not,
was
yeah,
this
well, yeah.
band called
Jennifer
the
Beals.
Bangles.
Jennifer Beals looks fantastic for her age. It's not about that. It's about whether she's going to break a hip if she falls off that platform or not.
No, she looks. Her body looks terrible though. Like I know that there are people like, oh, you know, she's 65.
Did they run out of the Ozempic over there? Where's the Ozempic? Like, get the Ozempic.
Well, everyone's just like gagging over Christina Aguilera getting skinny again because presumably she's on Ozempic.
I feel bad for like all of the actors who do it naturally now.
I mean, gagging, like that's like Twitter speak for like mother. You know, like we love that for her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
gagging is a good thing now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's been that way.
These Gen Z kids these days. But like when you see this, I'm just like, first of all, like she was in a coma over the summer. Maybe like flashing lights isn't the best thing in your life right now. Like she could have an epileptic seizure at any moment here. And I just really think what she needs to do, they need to remember the old commercials, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
They need to make like a remix version of it and put it over this video.
We've got a $20 from Mikey. I just really wish people would quit acting like children. Oh no, a bunch of cute women are doing things and posting it online. Blasphemy.
This is true.
Sarcasm, obviously.
It's very it's like, the sunglasses make it somehow even worse.
She calls everyone else ageist, but she's really ageist because everything she does is an attempt to look and act younger than she is. She's ageist against herself.
There's another $20.
This is a $20 one here from Dat Pie over there. Says, hey Phil, what do you think about the Phil Brooks CM Punk? He came back to WWE after a decade and beat up Rey Mysterio's kid last week. And Brett, he didn't do pro-choice stuff. He ran the straight edge society, and it would return. And it should return, to be honest.
I think that CM Punk is great. I don't know.
CM Punk is an entitled douche.
Well, I mean, in the ring, in WWE.
He's an injured entitled douche who gets hurt every time he gets in the ring.
He does get hurt.
He's made of glass.
He does get
And
hurt
just because he has a cool finishing move that he can't do as well as the dude that he stole it from doesn't mean...
Just in case you were wondering what Brett thinks of CM Punk.
Yeah, my impression is unsolicited. I just don't like his. I'm in the ring, fine. In his prime, he was very, very good. But
he's also good on the mic too, though.
He's a power wielder and he's a whiner, and I don't like whiners.
As far as I'm concerned, his performance in the ring is great. He's fine in the ring. He's great on the mic.
He's very good on the mic.
And that to me is really the deciding factor.
Getting
if someone's good, if they're entertaining in the WWE for me or not.
At least from what I've seen since he's been back, he hasn't even been able to be that person anymore because they kind of like buck broke him and made him be like, oh, I'm so glad to be back. I'm home, when that's not who he is at all. That's not his actual persona. Like, and I will give him some
I don't know.
leeway. They did send him his papers to be fired on his wedding day. They did fire him on his wedding day. Oh. So there was bad blood there. I do appreciate that Triple H is in a lot of ways pretty similar to Vince, that if he'll make the company money, he'll bury grudges and he'll work with people. I'm sure he'll make the company some money again, but his annoying backstage persona or his annoying backstage kind of politicking has always been annoying to me.
Chad is asking you to stop the video.
No, I'm leaving it. I knew that.
We got another $20 from The Undertaker. Cringe of the day? Oh, no. That's a glimpse into the future. Look closely at Madonna and realize that is Taylor Swift in 2060. I probably won't be here to see it, but I will laugh from beyond the grave.
We could do that thing where, like, I played people the People's Joker trailer, and they said I'll pay $20. Somebody pays $20, we'll turn it off. Like, I could just leave this on here until somebody pays us to turn it off.
We got $20 super chats.
I will literally do that. I will pay the $20 myself if you do it. My phone is literally in my hand.
Well,
I will do it.
It's in your hand. It's gonna have to wait and see. So yeah, like CM Punk's not for me. But yeah, all right, guys. See, is Phil actually gonna do this or not?
Are you?
Is he gonna do this?
You're not serious, right?
What? If you play the Joker trailer.
Oh, okay.
No, not
All
Madonna.
Right,
no, not for Madonna. But for the Joker, the America's Joker, whatever. If you play that trailer, I will pay you to stop that.
We're gonna have to play that tomorrow for Colonel Kurtz.
I might watch this show tomorrow and pay you to stop it then too. Thank you very much, guys.
Let's go! All right, guys. let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? We got a lot to get into.
3 minutes late.
Let's go ahead and get started, guys. So, if you don't know, Star Wars is a mess. It's been a mess for a very long time. It's been ground zero in many, many ways for the whole of the culture war. People have a lot of problems with Kathleen Kennedy. People have a lot of problems with the direction that Lucasfilm has gone since being purchased by Disney. All of that is very known. The sequel trilogy did not get received very, very well and got worse as it went on, concluding with that amalgamation that was, the Rise of Skywalker, which made nobody happy. All of this is true. Well, they had taken a break for a long time from full movies. We'll get to that. From full movies. And we now got the announcement for the brand new Rey Solo movie, which nobody asked for. And it's being made by this woman. Her name is Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy. And she has negative feelings about men.
Well, she has positive feelings about making men uncomfortable,
yes.
Which is a worrisome trait for someone making the next movie for a predominantly male fan base. This, as I said, it would be like if they got Louis C.K. to direct Barbie.
Yes, it would.
It would be like they chose a male director for Barbie who was recorded publicly saying that he enjoys making women feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it has different implications.
It'd be like hiring Kevin Spacey to make a movie about child actors.
Like hiring the Pope to make a porno.
Yep.
She also says it's about time we had a female filmmaker come forward to shape the galaxy far, far away.
That's the worst thing she said.
Let's read this $20 super chat here first. From Derek Nall, says, Phil, my dog gets stuck to it. It's us all the time. Guys, I swear I'm not bad at reading. I mean, I am, but I'm not as bad as I sound right now. And when we try to clean it off, she runs from us. She knows it's there. What do you think of the Jericho allegations and the fact that WWE is about to open the door and work with TNA? Have you heard the Jericho allegations?
What,
He's being accused of sexual assault.
I haven't heard them. I know Chris a little bit. He's always been super nice, so I don't, and
you'd have to. It's pretty detailed. He went down like a Twitter binge on Christmas. He was drunk tweeting on Christmas Day.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Just guys, go check that out for yourself. There's a lot. There's a YouTuber named the Solomonster. He has a YouTube channel and a podcast called the Solomonster. Sounds off. It's really, really good if you like to cover wrestling. And he has a video up right now about Chris Jericho from that day. It's very well done. It's very balanced. He takes a very neutral perspective. He reports on it rather than taking sides. I recommend going and checking that one out if you want more details about that. But wait, don't do that till after the episode today. So we're not just going to talk about that. This woman, her only real creative experience as a director here in America was doing 2 episodes of The Marvels. Everything else she directed were
of Miss Marvel.
The Marvels of Miss Marvel. Yeah. Thank you. And everything else she's directed were animated shorts or series in Pakistan
and 2 documentaries.
And quite a few documentaries. She's won journalism awards. She's not the person you put in charge of a big budget, multi-billion-dollar franchise. But let's listen to this interview they do with her. It's very, very interesting.
Meryl Streep is there for some reason.
Yes.
This is from a Women in the World summit.
We need to. Okay.
What is accomplished at all of these women's summits?
I'm saying
rhetorical question.
Timcast needs to have like a men's summit.
There need to be men's summits.
We need the men's summits back. All right, here we go.
What is the balance of activating a force for change, but
such a
also
non-question.
trying to permeate that?
This is supposed to be about
that
movies.
Power structure, and is that a part of the calculation of your art as well? And what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable.
India.
Not you.
Just
not you. Not you.
Point taken. Point taken.
Probably in response to.
But it is important to be able to look into the eyes of a man and say, I am here, and recognize that. And recognize that I am working to bring something that makes you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable because you need to change your attitude. And it's only when you're uncomfortable, when you're shifty, when you have to have difficult conversations that you will perhaps look at yourself in the mirror and not like the reflection. And then say, maybe there is something wrong with the way I think, or maybe there is something wrong with the way I am addressing this issue.
So basically, if you don't like, if you watch the new Rey movie and you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. She couldn't possibly have made a mistake. You actually must be a misogynist woman hater.
I think this one is actually worse than Brie Larson going on a stage.
Yeah, way worse.
Oh, it's so much worse.
I don't care what a 40-year-old white guy has to say about a wrinkle in time.
Listen, this is already. I would venture to say that this movie is already doomed.
Is this worse than Rachel Zegler?
Well, yes. Yeah. She's specifically telling the audience that is most likely to go see this, I am looking to offend you. I don't like you. I dislike you. I want to make something that bothers you, that upsets you. Why am I going to give you money? Like I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense at all. And the fact that Iger is allowing this is mismanagement. I think the people that own Star Wars stock have an actual case about fiduciary irresponsibility.
I mean, the fact that the South Park special...
Disney stock, not Star Wars stock.
The fact that South Park Panderverse came out and they didn't immediately slam the brakes on this idea...
Come on, exactly. Thank you.
They aren't paying attention to profits anymore.
Exactly.
They do not care. And this woman doesn't care how well a Star Wars movie will do because she gets the same paycheck either way, and it's a vehicle for her political messaging.
This is, I mean, I would expect the movie to be more of a disassembly of the Star Wars universe than the Rian Johnson film was. Like, she's going to do more to deconstruct Star Wars.
We got some $20 ones here from Baron of Gray Matter. Says, Star Wars, The Rise of the Karens. Midian 1911 says, Madonna, are you sure that's not gold dust? Yes, a little bit. Mikey for $20 says, I'll just say no franchise will survive getting rid of the fans that made a $1 billion franchise. Yes. Imagine, let's take a less extreme example of what you just said about Barbie and Louis C.K. Imagine you took like a subversive male director and he's like, I'm going to go and make you a Barbie movie that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Sam Levinson.
Because you need to be uncomfortable because you're inherently bad.
Yeah.
Right? This is not the market for that. High budget commercial art is not a place. This woman is an activist first.
There is no market for that.
All her documentaries are things that run on investment capital that are funded by these nonprofits and these NGOs, right? So that's not commercial art.
Has this movie gone into production yet, or are they just talking about it?
Is this the announcement of it so far?
I cannot believe that this is actually going to get made. I would be shocked if there were not significant changes. They responded to the the Daily Wire making a Snow White movie. They literally responded to the Daily Wire. How on earth is there not someone at Disney flipping out? How did this even make it to the air? Like, why was there not someone running out and knocking her off her chair?
Well, this was before she got the job.
She's also a member of the World Economic Forum.
You look into their track record, right? If this person has a bad reputation and you already know the fan base is pissed off, then don't hire her. Right? I don't think anyone would have had a problem with it if they just hired a female director.
I'll give you some examples.
That has a positive reputation, that hasn't publicly said things this inflammatory. Right?
I will give you a couple of examples. All right. So at one point, Patty Jenkins was announced to make a Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie. People were excited about that. People like Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman 1984, not included. Right? For the most part, she has proven herself in the past to be a competent director. Fine. You could have talked about Deborah Chow, who did several episodes of The Mandalorian, many of which they believe are some of the best stuff that has come out of Disney Lucasfilm. Fine. Hire her to do it. The other thing that's annoying about this is the initial quote about saying that there needs to be a woman in charge of the story now. Well, Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge of the story since taking over at Lucasfilm. Technically, are you saying she's not a woman? Is that like some type of weird admission? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. I know that they also, a lot of the comments when they're talking about it, they mentioned that Marcia Lucas, George Lucas's first wife, was the editor of the original trilogy.
Yeah, she got a Grammy for it.
Who was considered one of the architects of actually getting that story.
She got an Oscar for that, didn't she?
So, like, she's considered to be an architect of that.
It's infuriating. The left still does this. It's like the same impulse that they have to about like being pioneers for whatever aggrieved minority there is.
It's Jennifer. What's her name? Lawrence saying she's the first action star ever.
It's like they're serving us rage bait on a silver platter.
Yep.
Like. They are actively trying to piss people off.
Are you actually this stupid?
No, this is what it is. Like I used to hear this argument a lot. It's what it is. It's cultural conquering. It's saying that we own this now. This huge part of American history.
Yes.
This huge part of the America's identity in a lot of ways. Science fiction plays a huge role in a lot of. Think of all the men who have made something in the world today that grew up loving science fiction, that grew up loving movies and stuff like this, and women. Men and women who have done amazing things that liked science fiction before. And it's why I always mention like shows like, why is it that shows like Reacher gets left alone, but then when it comes to science fiction and fantasy, they're just ground zero for the culture war. It's cultural conquering. It's destroying the image of what America used to be and reshaping it in the image of what you want it to be. If you look at this woman's work, right? Everything else that she had on her...
She's likely a communist.
And on her profile, it's all documentaries. It's all stuff with an extremely narrow focus. And your focus cannot be narrow when you're making this movie. You have to make a movie that appeals to more than just women who don't like men or women who feel aggrieved by men. I did see a climate change documentary here in 2018. An animated short about climate change. Sounds like a blast.
Well,
right?
the left activists already conquered Hollywood long ago. But now I think this is just the humiliation ritual part of that process.
Yes. Where
they're not only going to own the entertainment industry, but they have to add insult to injury, right?
Well,
as someone in the chat said, they're defiling the corpse of Star Wars. It was already dead and over.
The impulse is to deconstruct, and then just like liberation theology, like the current pope, the left infiltrates whatever is an existing structure, and either they destroy it or they take it over and they wear it like a skin suit, and it doesn't have any of the same content that the original did, but it's wearing the image or the clothing of whatever it is. There's nothing Christian or Catholic about liberation theology. It's just that they managed to go ahead and like sneak it in, and gullible people have bought it up. And the same thing goes for this stuff, the social justice stuff. They sneak it in, and if it destroys whatever they're sneaking it into, whether it be comic books because comic book readership is down, or whether it be Disney, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to read the rest of her quote here. She says, "I have always been attracted to the hero's journey, and the world definitely needs more heroes. The blueprints of the heroes we see on screen are rooted in reality. I've spent my life meeting real-life heroes who have overcome the most oppressive empires and battled impossible odds, and that is, to me, the heart of Star Wars, which is why I was attracted to the promise of a new Jedi Order, and why I'm particularly excited about being immersed inside the Jedi Academy with a powerful Jedi Master." I've seen nothing from your filmography that says that you can handle something of this scale. I don't mean to be rude to this woman, but her gender aside, her politics aside, no movie of this scale, no movie with the budget that this movie will likely get should be handed to somebody with less than 5 banger movies that have all made money at the box office. You should not be trusted with $1 billion. They're not going to give $1 billion to a hobo to make a movie with less credits. What makes somebody who made small documentaries worthy of doing something at this scale? I don't know. Like, this has got nothing to do with her politics. I'm saying that if there was a dude who agreed with everything you said, but just made documentaries and had no known love for the franchise, right? This could be a little bit different. If there was like a long history of this lady being really, really steeped in the lore and really, really caring about the franchise, we see none of that here. We don't see any of that.
No.
You should not be entrusted with it. Like we can crap on the last few trilogies or the last few movies all they want. Yeah. J.J. Abrams doesn't really do all that great these days. Fine. I would still rather a J.J. Abrams get a shot at it than some lady who has no credits whatsoever.
You got another $20 super chat from Baron of Grey Matter. Star Wars, the Phantom Feminist.
like I don't know who you get to do this. Bring back Gareth Edwards. People liked Rogue One. That's the only one people liked from the past one, right? Let Gareth Edwards make it. Let somebody that has actual history making you money.
Let someone that doesn't hate it. If she hates, how can she like enjoy Star Wars in the Star Wars universe if up until the sequels she would have been against all of the narratives that were inside of it because it was all guys. She hated men. How can you look at Star Wars and be like, I like Star Wars, and at the same time I hate men and I like to make them uncomfortable?
It's insane.
I don't see how you can.
Well, we got one reaction here. Someone who's happy about this decision. She said, the amount of people who feel threatened by one woman directing a Star Wars film when the previous 11 were all directed by men shows just how powerful women are. Imagine that. Scared of cooties in the year 2024.
That's the most disingenuous
in current
argument.
year.
That's the most disingenuous argument I've ever heard in my life.
I just said, like, the previous male directors of all the Star Wars movies weren't publicly saying that they were proud of making women uncomfortable.
I picked up some of the reactions from people online just to get a bit of the take from people. So the Salty Nerd podcast says the only debate we are going to have over this movie will be how much money it's going to lose. That is true. Who else do we got here?
Vera.
Vera.
She said, who could have expected she's now directing a film or movie that's target audience is predominantly men. Yeah. Surely she will leave her own opinions at the door and not inject her feminist views into the movie, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen, right? What's sad about that is, like, I look at a lot of these old movies. Like, there's a lot of actors who can put aside their politics to play roles where they're bad guys, right? Why is it that you can't put your politics aside when making a movie, but the actors sometimes can when they're taking on these roles, right? There's always got to be the bad guy who, like, a lot of these actors don't like guns, but they're more than happy to be in movies that use guns.
I think it's because all Hollywood is full of people that are just terribly embarrassed about how much money they have and how successful they have, and so they have to do the oppression versus the oppressor versus the oppressed narrative. That's what's in vogue nowadays.
I know that I say this a lot, like almost to the point of it being comical, but there is just something very demonic, like diabolical and Luciferian. There's a Luciferian spirit behind wokeness.
Well, yeah.
There's a Luciferian spirit behind wokeness, and that impulse to destroy rather than create, because you don't have the power to create something.
The left is the opposite of the things that are considered like good according to people on the right. Like the left literally looks at like all of the things that the right does and it wants to turn it on its head. Like even Marx called himself the Antichrist. Like he literally did. So like that is something that the left does. They want to. There's an impulse on the left to be like the opposite of whatever the right is, and the right embraces all of the things that are traditional and religion and blah blah blah. And so the reaction from the left is to be the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. So and that's whether you believe in spirituality or not. Most people know that I'm an agnostic and I don't really believe in the afterlife or spirits or devils or whatever. But you can still look at the left and say yes, their impulse is to be the opposite to things that are considered good, pure, blah blah blah.
Here's some more of the takes here. Lorena Creel says, sounds to me like this chick has a self-esteem problem and will be using Star Wars to work through it instead of seeing a therapist. Spend your own money to work on your issues. Don't spend Disney's money.
Why? No, she's not spending their money. She's getting paid for it.
But she's spending their money by telling them what to make. Disney's spending the money on it. She's spending their money and making money on it. Okay. Matthew Marsden had a couple of really good ones here. He said, told you Disney would keep doubling down. The ideology means more to them than money. Yes. Disney will be bankrupt in a few years if this keeps going.
Will it, though?
I don't know. And then this one says, why do I have to change my attitude? Why are you treating all men like one giant homogenous block? Why would you want me to feel uncomfortable? Why would you want to make my sons feel uncomfortable? You should be fired immediately, and people wonder why I don't want to be in Hollywood anymore.
Because you're a bad person. That's why because she's an actual bad person. If you desire to make people uncomfortable and unhappy, that means you're a bad person. That can't be thought of as good.
Chris Gore, and if you want to hear somebody who expertly
good.
breaks down Star Wars, Chris Gore is the dude you want to go and check out. It says, turning Star Wars into a girl brand will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in the entertainment industry. I've said this a million times. Okay, the reason they bought Marvel and Star Wars was because they wanted boy brands. They had the Disney princesses. They had the women's market locked down. They wanted things for boys. But instead of doing the smart thing and becoming an even bigger industry titan by having both demographics locked down, you turned the boy brands you spent billions of dollars to get and turned them into girl brands. It makes no sense. It's stupid.
Yep.
And then this one, Brett R. Smith says, Bob Iger thinks doubling down on the Force as female will finally work after a decade of failure. You can't solve a problem with the mind which created it.
Do you think Bob Iger watched Panderverse?
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, would that not be a wake-up call enough?
I think a lot of these people are so disconnected from, like, first of all, their paychecks don't depend on it, so there will be until their paychecks depend on it. Like, I want one of them, what I would love for them to do is to take on a director. Like, imagine you get a director who's done several good movies, right? He's got a good history with production. He's made a lot of money for these studios, or he's on the way up. Every money, you can even list Greta Gerwig here. I'm not listing her for this movie, but all her movies, if you see, they've all made increasingly more money. Each one, obviously, with Barbie making way more. Get a director who's increased his profits every time and say, look, we're going to give you a smaller amount, but have him ask for a percentage, right? Like, he needs to get box office. Like, we need him to make money on the back end so that there's an incentive to make the movie well. They can't just take the big check up front. The lady who did the FNAF movie, right, had a smaller paycheck, but made out way better because she gets the money on the back end because the movie did as well as it did. With no incentive for them to actually make a good movie, they're just going to follow and double down on their ideological ends.
Yeah.
It's pointless. There's no reason to do that. And if you can incentivize these people to actually tell a story that's honest, it's just stupid.
Well, we're always asking, like, I don't understand why they do this. Why do they do this?
Because they're ideologically possessed.
And they make the money anyways.
It's like they are possessed by demons.
Well, no, the point is they want, there are people that believe that society needs to change into the things that they're making these movies into. So society needs to be, apparently they think that society needs to be more antagonistic towards, the identities in society need to be more antagonistic towards each other, because that's the only outcome.
It's also such a lame, like, elitist academic thing to be like, yeah, they should be uncomfortable. Like, it's exactly something you hear in a college classroom.
Yeah, I mean, so like this reminds me of something that James Lindsay talks about. There was a study, or there was one of the things they were doing when they were doing the James Lindsay's this guy that most of the viewers know. One of the things they were doing when they were doing their hoax papers is they wrote a paper and they sent it in, and one of the things that the critique is they were saying that they should not be trying to make the boys comfortable. They should be making the boys uncomfortable. And when you do that, when you look at a group and say we need to harm them, Lindsay said that's the seed of a genocide, and it kind of is, because if you're like, these people need to be punished and we need to think it's okay to harm them, cause them pain for something, for just who they are, then you're telling people it's okay to that's the worst kind of dehumanization. We must harm them because they're boys, because they're male. That's exactly how you end up with, okay, we'll just kill them all. That's the impulse.
Yeah. So just, guys, it really is, there are no thumbnails that do the destruction of Star Wars justice. I actually do feel bad for all of you, like, diehard Star Wars fans. As somebody who isn't, I'm culturally connected to these stories because we talk about Hollywood every day, but I feel worse for the people who have to have the thing that they truly loved as a child just defiled and destroyed. Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's go ahead and do some Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Hi, Mary. Are you Team Josie or Team Bryson?"
I don't know, Mary. Which one are you?
I believe you're referring to Alex Stein's episode last night. And
God.
I did watch most of it. And I actually do agree with Bryson's points more than Josie's. But at the end of the day, it's not really making any difference in the outcome. But yeah, I agree. Like, most of those photos were immodest. And, you know, if I guess I were in the position to be involved in something like that and profit off of it, I wouldn't have done it, personally. Shane H. Wilder said, Phil, it was great to see you had fun on IRL last night. Hola, Senor Brett and Senorita Mary. Thought I'd try a new greeting. Let me know if it works.
I like it.
It didn't work.
I liked it.
I disliked it. Big Dave sent us 99 cents without a message.
Thank you. Let's do one more.
And Shane H. Wilder asked us the question about chicken Alfredo or spaghetti and meatballs.
Let's look and see what people are right now. With 62% of the vote, spaghetti and meatballs is winning.
Okay. We'll
All
see
right,
how it
guys.
goes.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back. Mary, tell us what the hell is going on with Kanye.
A lot of associates and friends of Kanye West are now saying they see a change in him, where he used to really care about his music reflecting his Christian faith and newfound traditional values. But in recent months, it seems like with his antics and with his wife, Bianca Censori, and also the type of lyrics that he's putting in this new album, Vultures, he's straying away from that and seemingly having a crisis of faith. And we can psychoanalyze Kanye West all day, but what we're analyzing today is just what he is putting out there into the public and onto our social media feeds. And I saw he posted these new photos of his wife, Bianca Censori, in extremely revealing outfits. I see that.
Take note, ultra-right beer.
Yeah. Kanye West, according to the Daily Mail, is humiliating his wife, Bianca Censori, by posting explicit, near-naked photos of her to promote his new album. And her friends fear that he is hell-bent on turning her into a clone of his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian.
Do you think that his religious realization was real, or do you think it was kind of
It's impossible for us to know his true conscience in what he was saying from when he put out his gospel album in 2019 to present day. I mean, he's changed so much and so many times in just that short period of time. Like, that's why he makes fun of people saying, I miss the old Kanye, is because he changes so often. They wouldn't say that otherwise. But with this argument that he's intentionally humiliating both his ex-wife, Kim, and his current wife, Bianca, by displaying her in all of these explicit outfits and posting it on social media.
How is that trying to humiliate Kim?
Well, it's like they're saying this is a clone of Kim's younger self that, you know, it was a storyline in Keeping Up with the Kardashians that he was on Kim's case because she wasn't dressing conservatively enough for his taste. And he sort of had this Madonna whore complex toward her, where he, as this was the mother of his children, he wanted her to present herself in a different way.
Did he see the Ray J tape?
He did get it straight from Ray J's hands.
Yeah,
so
is he aware of it?
I don't know. Yeah. But now that he's with Bianca Censori, who resembles Kim strongly, or what Kim used to look like in her younger years, she's having her display herself in this very explicit way, this very pornographic way. And that's his way of showing Kim that he can humiliate her even though they're no longer together.
We got a $20 super chat here from Splug the Goblin. Says,
Okay.
Please bring Guard Bro on the show. Does anybody
I haven't
know who that
heard
is?
of
I don't know who
Guard
that
Bro.
is.
We'll look into it, I guess.
But thank you for that. I think that was his first super chat. So thank you so much for that.
I think that the more likely story here is that Bianca Censori is seeing this as an opportunity. Like, she wants the fame, she wants the money, the notoriety. She will be known forever because of her relationship with him. And maybe she's going to change her tune later on and say that she was exploited. But we all know that there was a trade-off. There was an exchange of power and money and sexuality there. And she is voluntarily engaging in it. And yes, it's dehumanizing, it's degrading, but she should critically look at herself for choosing to do that as an adult woman with her own
Agency?
ability to, I mean, look, limited agency, facts, but she's not being forced to do any of this. And I believe if you asked her, she would say, like,
Thank you.
she would be angry at the insinuation that she's being forced to do this, right?
Until the money and the fame run out, and then she gets to change her tune in 20 years when
Sure.
she goes on the supposed abuse
She doesn't.
to book tours pipeline, which we all know is going to happen.
Yeah, unless she doesn't.
Okay,
so,
it doesn't have to go that far. She can be like, oh my God, I was so sexualized in my 20s.
Right, yeah. And I just think that because Kanye has been so public about reverting to Christianity and wanting his music to reflect that and his platform to promote these traditional values and family values, it's very confusing that he has gone down this arc in recent months. And I pointed this out when he was at Art Basel in Miami doing this Vultures listening party. He invites his 11-year-old daughter North onto stage while everyone is rapping about sex and adult topics, and your near naked wife is also on stage and she's there with like Nicki Minaj and all these different rappers. It's not appropriate. And it's not moral.
When I was 12, I was absolutely listening to music about these topics, but that was, I had to find ways around buying albums that had parental advisory stickers on them.
Well, it's just hypocritical for Kanye to criticize Kim for supposedly sexualizing North, which I'm not disputing that she may have, by, allowing her to make TikToks and hang out with Ice Spice and, lip sync to these inappropriate lyrics. But then he flips, and right after that, he's allowing her to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of this is like, look, he's bipolar. He goes through manic episodes. I imagine that he's in the middle of a manic episode. A lot of people would say, and I think I'm of the opinion, that having such a chaotic personality is part of what makes him such an amazing artist. It feeds his creativity in a lot of ways. And what you're seeing right now is the negative side effects of that genius in a lot of ways. And it does highlight, as you said, there's hypocrisy there, right? It's a scary situation when you think about the fact that he was a very different person not that long ago, but it's the pace in which he switches, right? So he goes from one personality to the next, and people are, it kind of feeds
it's jarring because it's like, what fan base do you want?
And it feeds into the mystique of it, right? Because it's like he's impossible to pin down and figure out, and I think that a lot of people are drawn to that aspect of it. But Shane Cashman weighed in on this, yeah.
Firstly, Bryson Gray tweeted about his association with Ye. He went to Tokyo in July last year to help him work on songs on the Vultures album. And that was with the goal of keeping the lyrics Christ-centered. He said on Twitter, "I'm probably breaking my NDA to say this, but I was with Ye in Tokyo working on the new album. We talked about God and repentance. We talked about the Bible. He even mentioned how most Christians don't like talking about repentance. He was very serious about his faith. But it's clear that people around him are not Christ-centered. My purpose there was to make sure his lyrics remained Christ-centered. I'm posting this after seeing the new pictures he posted, and I'm disgusted." He's talking about the outfits that Bianca was wearing.
Yeah.
"I don't know what happened in the last 6 months, but I hope Ye sees this. He found me because he loved my song Homemakers, which if anyone knows that song, sees why it's relevant. I may delete this thread after my dad or wife sees this and starts yelling at me, but I had to get this out. Ye, repent, come back, God first." So I guess he was under an NDA to not tell people that he was involved in working on this album. And then Shane Cashman, our coworker, who has made extensive pieces about his interactions with Kanye, also voiced the same opinion. He said, "I didn't sign an NDA with Kanye. I knew Bryson was in Tokyo. I had similar discussions with Ye about God that Bryson mentions in his post. I went to church and Bible study with Ye and spent weeks on the phone with him talking about prayer and the key to heaven. Something happened in the last 6 or so months. I don't know what, but the Kanye today is actively erasing the Kanye I knew, not only as a fan, but also personally. I mean this on a father-to-father level. I agree with Bryson that the recent photos of Ye's wife are flagrant, but that's not even where I'm coming from. Something has been bothering me since the Miami listening party, and now I know how to put it into words. The Kanye on that stage did something that went against who Kanye was as a father. It's one thing to express yourself in any way you'd like. I know Kanye is capable of highbrow and lowbrow lyrics and imagery. It's part of what makes him great. He did something at the listening parties that defied fatherhood. Maybe you'll disagree, but I would never have my young child on stage hearing me talk about sex or hearing others like Nicki Minaj talk about sex. I was excited to see the return of New Body track, but damn dude, that is a wild song to play for your daughter. That said, there are some of my favorite songs from Ye on this new record, like Worship and Beg Forgiveness. They make me tear up, they're so beautiful. No matter how much an artist chooses to express themselves, it would not defy one's role as a parent. Especially after the homie spent all that time shouting to the rafters about how he believed Kim was sexualizing his daughter and how he didn't want her doing dances on TikTok. But now it's okay to talk about effing on stage next to your daughter while your new wife walks around practically naked all the time. Something happened, I don't know what, we haven't talked in a while. And I'm sure this is the case for a lot of celebrities. You can't talk to them directly, they have a middleman all the time. So it's probably really difficult to reach him and ask him any of these questions directly.
Yeah.
And would he even have an answer for you?
Yeah.
Difficult to say.
That would even.
But the hypocrisy is just glaring.
Yeah.
It's glaring.
And even if he had an answer, would it really be the type of thing that he's going to want to vocalize? Because if you do ask him this question, you're asking him to justify himself, and a lot of people aren't going to take kindly.
Puts you on the defense to do that.
Yes, automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the sentiment is that the world needs Christian Kanye, not degenerate Kanye.
Yeah.
But Kanye needs to have sane Kanye, stable Kanye. And all of this other stuff aside, I mean, I'm sure some of his religious fervor was intertwined with manic episodes, but he also denies entirely that he has bipolar disorder now.
Yeah.
He says that was a misdiagnosis, but all the evidence of his public behavior points otherwise.
Yeah, we're on the fifth personality in the last couple of years, and it's kind of crazy to think that, first of all, I mean, also think about what's happened to him. Lost over half of his net worth. He's gone through a whole lot in that time period. Not custody battles, but the back and forth with his wife, back and forth with his ex-wife's boyfriend, Pete Davidson, and all of this stuff. It's incident after incident.
He's been humiliated on the world stage.
Yeah.
I feel like he has a similar storyline to Trump at this point. Like Trump, for instance, has every reason to feel aggrieved and to feel like he wants to get revenge. But it's not constructive. That's not a good way to approach life. I feel like maybe that's a reason why Kanye identified with Trump.
Suppose it could in a lot of ways be solved if he does find his way back to his faith, which would be good. But that's remains to be seen. And the gospel albums were never my favorite work of his, but I understand why it is. And we had this conversation the other day about the amount of celebrities that have been finding their way to God recently.
Yeah, so we mentioned Hulk Hogan recently got baptized. Shia LaBeouf.
Did he?
He's considering becoming a deacon.
Shia LaBeouf just became Catholic the other day and is considering becoming a Catholic deacon. And then there was the Black China story.
Gideon quit his career as a YouTube prankster because he said it's not of God.
Kat Von D as well.
Kat Von D was a big one. There was quite a few of them. I didn't even remember. I forgot Black China.
I'm sure there are other examples
when
too.
you mentioned it, but there's a lot of them, right? That have found their way to this. Oh, Rob Schneider in I think last.
Oh, really?
I just read an article about it in November. So there's a lot of them. And I think a lot of it is also for a lot of people, especially when you live a life where you don't have to want for anything and you've had all your physical and your physical needs met. You have a home, you have a stable career, you can live in excess if you want. There starts to be a want for something else, something deeper that you can't necessarily find through financial means. And as the world gets more and more complicated and things get more and more unpredictable, I think a lot of people are turning to faith because they see it as comforting. And hopefully that means more people will end up finding their, at least those who are looking for something, who seem to be in that that ongoing path of searching for something that they can't quite find, which I think a lot of people in Hollywood are.
Do you think that Kanye is going to sue Bryson Gray for breaking his NDA?
That would be an interesting, we'll cover it if that happens.
I mean, I think that would be a really interesting development, but he probably won't.
Yeah.
But like, I'm glad that Bryson and Shane Cashman talked about this, because I was thinking the exact same thing just as an outside observer.
And that's the other thing. Okay, so Mary had been saying this for quite some time. Like that this was not new. You felt that he hadn't been living his religious values for quite a while now.
Right. I mean, just the fact that he got remarried also, it goes against everything the Bible says about marriage. It's not easy. That's why it's like the narrow path. It's not easy to live out those values. Yeah. And that's just one example, but most of these are just incredibly in your face. I mean, the way that he's exposing North to all of these people and having her on stage at that listening party, it's beyond hypocritical. It is immoral. It's almost like, I don't know, it's just normalizing things to her that should not be normalized to her.
Yeah.
Already growing up in the public eye and with paparazzi and like Hollywood people around her all the time. It's incredibly destructive.
Who did I mention recently? I read some article about this, some actor who said that his kids are not allowed to get into acting until they have to be out of college before he's like, I'm not going to give them any help. I'm not going to suggest them to casting directors. Like if they want to do acting, they got to be adults.
Why?
Because he doesn't want them acting as kids. He doesn't want them in the industry as children.
Okay,
so he's protecting them from the dangers of it. Yeah. So we got a couple of $20 ones. So let's move on to the super chats. Let's do these 220s here.
Okay. First from 21 Catkinson said, it'd be really sick if y'all reviewed Netflix's Outlast, made by the same guy as Alone. Really shows how greed can turn people into animals. Best hate watch in a while. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts. Semper Fi, Phil.
Hoorah.
And like hate watching what I would have to know what you mean by hate watching. Is it like actually bad, but you liked it? Because I'm cool with that if it's something that I know is bad, but I actually like. But like I don't like to like when we watched Velma, I lost 5 to 10 years of I'm gonna die sooner.
Which was worse, Rings of Power or Velma?
Velma was like at least with Rings of Power, I could on a technical level sit there and look at the beautiful CGI work that was done on that show and be like, sure, it looks fake and it's all like one bright tone and there's not really a whole lot of shadows, but like structurally it looks fine. Velma was just vomit from start to finish, just vomit brain rot.
We got another from Ben Tomsky, said, we should reach out privately. I don't know why we air out the dirty laundry in public. Like that's good for anyone involved. He who covers a matter seeks love, but a talebearer separates close friends. Proverbs 17:9.
I'm always surprised.
I believe that the reason Bryson Gray and Shane Cashman specifically spoke about this publicly is because they don't have an avenue to speak to Kanye directly. Like it seems like they preferred to have done that, but didn't have the option.
Yeah.
Let's do
2 more.
Tacti Platy said, Phil, you rock on IRL. Keep it up.
Cheers. Thank you.
JTR11 said, as a man, I feel uncomfortable when they fire Gina Carano.
There you go. Hire her back. If it makes you uncomfortable, man, that's they should hire her back. Let's do one more.
Sorenko Productions said, thanks, Brett. I'm an abused Star Wars fan, and I appreciate the recognition of the abuse. Alexa, play In the Arms of an Angel.
I was watching Con Air last night. Masterpiece. If you've never seen Con Air with Nicolas Cage, you should go and watch it. One of Dave Chappelle's best performances. And I just remember that the whole intro scene of the movie is basically it's the song How Do I Breathe? And it's just and it's him dancing to it. And I'm like listening to it. I'm like, I've just been put back into a time capsule as Nicolas Cage does one of the worst Southern accents I've ever heard in my entire life. And it's actually relevant here too, because we got a story here about another actor putting on an accent, and that would be Frank Underwood. I mean Kevin Spacey, who did an interview with Tucker Carlson, did he not?
That was weird.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey decided to do an interview with Tucker
2024
Carlson.
has not even
Please.
begun.
Go.
As it was like a Christmas Eve special, and this is something that Kevin Spacey does every year. He makes a video.
Has he been doing them in recent years as well?
I think he's missed a couple.
Oh, he
years.
did? Okay.
Yeah,
this is like a tradition for him, but this year he decided to do it with Tucker Carlson. This is a 7-minute interview that was all planned and scripted, seemingly. And it was just the weirdest thing ever. And so many people watched it and were trying to decode the secret meanings and everything. Some people thought that it was AI generated and that Kevin Spacey wasn't even there.
I wonder if it wasn't scripted as much as he gave Kevin Spacey the questions ahead of time, and Kevin Spacey just planned his answers as the Frank Underwood character.
Yeah, and Tucker was hardly able to keep a straight face.
It was hilarious watching like Tucker Carlson be like, because Kevin, like my point was when I was watching this is you can tell that Kevin Spacey is a very trained actor, and Tucker Carlson is just an interviewer playing an interviewer. It's also, he's wearing acid. I just want to point out Tucker Carlson is wearing like some acid wash jeans.
I didn't notice that when you pointed it out.
I was like, bro, he's went all drip for this.
So they titled this a Christmas Eve election surprise, and I guess the joke is that Kevin Spacey, as his House of Cards character, is considering running for president in 2024. So let's just take a look at it,
at least a bit of
briefly.
Yet, and it does seem like the presidential race is effectively frozen in place, if not over. We know who the candidates are. It's too late for another to get in. Some have already dropped out. But is it too late? Is there anyone in this country of 350 million people who could jump in at this late date and re-scramble the calculus of electoral politics? Well, there may be someone, and in fact, you already know him. You know his face. And the question is, will he get in this cycle? And that's my question for you.
Well, that's really a decision for the people, Tucker. It's not something that I really think about or want to do. And Merry Christmas to you, too. But I've always believed that nothing should be off the table in life or in art. I think we could both agree that we need to get some adults back in the room. So if that means taking on the chief executive role, well, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for this great nation.
Adults in the room. I love it. I could see it as a bumper sticker. Is that your campaign slogan?
Well, that's not a bad idea. Look, I think first our country needs to stop apologizing and stiffen up. I mean, look, we got so many people running around with so many different issues like gun control, important issue. But let's be honest. The truth is, more people are killed by online trolls every day.
That may be true, actually, but then they're protected by the First Amendment.
He's so
They can say whatever they want. You believe in the First Amendment, I assume.
Of course I do. Look, people spewing ridiculous ideas is nothing new, and they should always have that right. But the problem is, somewhere along the way, we started listening. And we should remember the salient words of Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Do not believe anything of what you hear and only half of what you see." And he wasn't telling people to stop talking. He was telling us to stop listening. So let's stop blaming bots and college kids and start telling leaders what leadership really means.
Look, in the wide shot, it looks fake. Like
It looks. You think this is a deep fake?
in the wide
He's telling
shot,
us to stop listening.
it doesn't like it doesn't match. Like I can't. Like maybe it's just the maybe I'm losing my brain here.
It's possible that it's green screened because
Half of what
you know.
you see. And he wasn't
You got
telling
a
people to stop.
$20 super chat from Splug the Goblin. He said, Guard Bro is the author of the Emily Bronze books and the Veil Riders books and the creator of the Veil Riders TTRPG, also on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. Never heard of it.
So this interview, like, if you guys don't know, Kevin Spacey has like a lot of allegations, and he's to fair, he has been acquitted of most of all of those allegations, both in the UK and here at home. But also, a lot of people keep dying before it can go to trial, which is, if to be fair, very House of Cards to have a bunch of people die before you go to trial.
Yeah, the iconic one is on Christmas Eve 2019. He released his video and titled it "Kill Them with Kindness," and literally the next day, one of his accusers died of an apparent suicide. And before that ever happened, he was acquitted of the Anthony Rapp accusation, who said that he made advances on him when he was 14. After that, another one named Linda Culkin, who was also deemed a stalker of Spacey's. She died by getting hit by a car in March 2019. No driver was charged for the incident. And then in September 2019, another accuser died who remained anonymous, and that was from an ongoing cancer. And the Christmas Day death of his third accuser, Ari Ben, that was the apparent suicide after he made that creepy video talking about killing them with kindness. So he is really method acting as Frank Underwood, I guess.
Apparently.
And also another question here is, like, what did Tucker intend with this video? Who was it for? Yeah. And I saw this tweet from Disgraced Propagandist interpreting it, saying, "Seems to me like Tucker's primary audience is not the right, not the public, but the regime and the specific elites who smited him after he got booted from Fox, I'm assuming. Everything he does seems like a 4D chess FU to them. This group is terrified by Kevin Spacey for the same reason they were always terrified of Epstein. He was involved in very dark sex stuff with very elite people and knows way too much. They tried to get rid of him but weren't completely able to. Spacey's strange video from a few years ago, Kill Them with Kindness, also in character as Frank Underwood, seemed to threaten the regime with naming names."
I also want to point out, just as an aside, I was looking through Kevin Spacey's IMDb, his trivia section, which reads like a sociopath's guide. So let's go through some of these that are just listed. These are like the first things listed as like interesting factoids about Kevin Spacey. Was expelled from Northridge Military Academy for throwing a tire at a classmate.
Normal.
Totally normal. Burned his sister's treehouse down when they were children. This caused his parents to send him to military school, which he promptly left for a regular high school. Perfectly normal for him to do things like that. It's just like all those things, just like imagine a childhood of violence. And was there bedwetting? I don't know. But what was it called? Like the homicidal triad. You don't want to have all of those things and you end up with narcissistic personality disorder and you're a psychopath or a sociopath.
Was Kevin Spacey born a sociopath or made one?
He was made that way.
He was also supposedly supposed to play President Whitmore in Independence Day. And I'm so glad he didn't, because I can't imagine that amazing speech about how great, on Independence Day from the movie from Bill Pullman wouldn't have had the same ring with creepy Kevin Spacey giving that speech. It wouldn't have worked.
Another thing that people pointed out from this video is that throw pillow that is in between Kevin Spacey and Tucker Carlson on the couch. Mm-hmm. And it has this print on it in a square. And it looks exactly like the pattern that was on the building on Little St. James Island. It's very interesting timing with like the Epstein court documents coming out today. Certain people that we expected to be named weren't named. It does feel like this was made for an in-group, and it has a lot of inside jokes or references that the public wasn't meant to understand. And I just don't know who Tucker is pandering to anymore.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not sure who this is for.
Well, if you watch the whole thing, at the end, he references the fact that he says, I probably watch Netflix as much as you watch Fox News, because he was, after all the allegations came out, he was fired from Netflix. Mm-hmm. What's funny about this is like a lot of people won't understand, like House of Cards was one of the first great streaming series that really put Netflix on the map. You couldn't open Netflix without looking at a picture of Kevin Spacey from that show. And when he was fired, suddenly all the pictures that advertised House of Cards were either of Robin Wright or generic new DC monuments. And he was fired and unpersoned, and most people believe that he, like, that's what's funny about it. Like, I don't know if this dude's guilty. I'll tell you what doesn't happen is, like, I still watch I can still watch Seven. I can still watch The Usual Suspects because I expect there to be scumbags in Hollywood at all times. So it doesn't affect my ability to watch movies, right? I can still watch these things. But he is drawing parallels between what happened to him on Netflix to how Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox. And to be fair, Tucker Carlson seems to be fine with that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But Tucker wasn't fired from Fox based on any allegations against him coming out.
But that's what's weird is he was okay with that comparison, even though the reasons that they were fired are vastly different. There's a $20 one here from Jay Jorgensen. I thought it was Joe Jorgensen. We had the she was like the head of or she was the libertarian candidate.
Yes,
right?
she was.
Or maybe it's JoJo from Jers. Love Kevin's movies, but after his allegations came up, it seems he lost his mind and was almost a mental break. Much like Michael Jackson on stage, great music, allegations, interview crazy. Will Smith is going the same way. Well, we'll be getting into that a little bit later.
Will Smith is going the same way. How so?
The slap.
I guess.
Well, some people responded to this and they were like, Tucker is talking to someone. That means they're based and we like them now. Like, Ian Miles Chong replied to this and said, Kevin Spacey did nothing wrong.
Ugh.
You can't be serious, right?
We can't know. Well, here's the thing. This is the problem with all these allegations. I don't freaking know. I know that Hollywood's full of scumbags.
I have no take.
I know the timing is super suspicious.
I really, really don't have a take.
Do
I can't
you like
say
him as
that
an
I
actor?
know anything more than anyone else, you know?
like him?
I mean, he's all right as an actor.
Yeah.
There's been some good movies that I've seen with him in it, but, like, it's not going to be, like, enough to be like, oh, you know, it's fine.
Well, he said Tucker is threatening the regime by collabing with Spacey. Spacey is more or less revealing that they literally tried to kill him, and the pair is suggesting that they're ready to fight back by any means necessary.
What does that even mean?
Well, you said that he made a reference to House of Cards where he said, we need a leader who's willing to push the nation or a journalist in the right direction by any means necessary.
If you guys don't know, spoiler alert, skip ahead 15 to 20 seconds if you haven't watched House of Cards. At the end of season 1, after him and Kate Mara have an affair and he uses Kate Mara's character to leak secrets about his enemies, he promptly disposes of the journalist by pushing her into an oncoming train.
So I guess that's essentially what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We need a leader who isn't afraid to push a journalist in the right direction is a subtle reference, not so subtle reference to his character pushing that journalist in front of a train.
It's it all seems like a weird, incomprehensible troll.
Super ominous.
Yeah.
It didn't leave me with a good feeling on Christmas Eve.
The accent, however, the accent is amazing. His accent is fantastic.
You said he's from New York?
New Jersey.
New Jersey? Okay.
The accent is fantastic. So, yes. All right. It's just
I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you get something you don't know what to make of it.
Greg Duvier said, sorry, off topic, but Phil, I need new All That Remains music for the gym.
Soon. We're working on it. We have like 7 songs done, but we got to write a couple more. Got to track. I'm going to track drums at the end of this month. Well, I'm not tracking them. We're going to track more drums at the end of the month. I want to have something released in March, but I've been talking about release, ish times, multiple times in the past year, and it never materializes. So it's coming. We're working on it. Just I don't know when.
Their favorite word is soon.
There's an inside joke in in skating, where it's like every time a company would have a new product, they would just say soon.
Yeah.
And then that means never.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Like I said, I mean, I've got like 7 songs that I've heard new All That Remains. I've been listening to it for the past year, but it's just got to get finished. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but the more I look at this image of him, it just looks fake. It doesn't look like he's actually there. It doesn't look like he's actually there. It looks like the shadow on his back is like a lit.
Or is the lighting just weird?
I guess it's just like really really too even lighting.
Honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if it was green screen.
Yeah.
Because he's, Tucker lives in Maine.
Well, yeah, Spacey did say, I love when reality and fiction intersect because that's when things get interesting.
I don't know. I don't
hate
know for
actors.
sure, but it could be that. That could be the thing. And you know what? If you think it probably is green screen, you'll probably sleep better.
Yeah.
And you can probably just let it go if you're like, it is green screen.
It's fake. It's fake.
There you go. Just accept it.
Jocko Saint Rap said Olive Garden is delicious. You're wrong. It's not.
You know, you can
gross.
buy the cheese grater.
Just because you like salt doesn't mean Olive Garden's delicious.
Yeah, well, it's more sugar, right? They put sugar in all of the sauces.
Yeah, but
and it's
everything you taste is salt.
sick.
Sugar gets the reaction from your the biological reaction, but everything that the people get there is savory.
I'm on your side, Jocko. I don't even remember.
You like Olive Garden?
I don't know if I've eaten at Olive Garden since I was 15, but
When you don't have anywhere to stand on this issue.
It's fine.
DCNC said, can we sub the spag for fettuccine or
Spaghetti.
I don't know how to say the other one.
tagliatelle?
I have no idea how to pronounce that. Hiroshima Otaru said, I ate these almond roca cookies, got the worst stomach flu of my life. Now just the thought of those cookies makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, man. Told you. I got sick and I couldn't eat spaghetti for years.
He also said Gunn doesn't have the sincerity to do Superman.
That is on. Okay, so that's an interesting concept, right? So one of the things about. Thank you. One of the things about James Gunn is there's a lot of like edgy humor that is kind of wrapped in a slightly sincere shell, which I like. Like if you watch the Suicide Squad, the one he made, or the Guardian's Tales, there's good stories about chosen family, as much as we joke about that concept here, and connection with other people. Hey. Why is it only do it when Phil's here?
And only when you're trying to say something.
Yes, I agree that he doesn't have the pure sincerity to do Superman, or at least I haven't seen that. But it'll be interesting to see him try. And let's do one more.
Aardvark219 said, thanks for recommending Reacher, watched over holiday, and now think new housing development by me is a front for Venezuelans to launder
Good.
T-1000's money?
Yeah, could be. Also, if you watch season 2, that new housing development could have bodies in the concrete slabs. So you never know. All right, guys, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. We got something else to discuss because Ben Affleck is he's having a rough go of it, as you know. He used to be married to Jennifer Garner, and now he is back with his ex, Jennifer Lopez. And if you watch any clip of them together, you understand what sadness truly looks like.
Yeah, all of the paparazzi photos that are coming out of Ben Affleck, he just looks so utterly, thoroughly miserable. Maybe he just has resting suicidal face. I considered that possibility. But it might have something to do with his relationship. It might be a little toxic. And according to reports from anonymous sources, his friend Matt Damon hates the way Jennifer Lopez treats Ben Affleck. Source claims he can't keep quiet about it anymore. So Matt had serious reservations about Bennifer 2.0 since the beginning. He's tried to be publicly supportive for Ben Affleck's sake, but the fact is he hates the way Jennifer Lopez treats his friend and can no longer hold his tongue. It's no secret that Ben and J-Lo haven't been getting along, as he always seems to be in the doghouse. They're referring to Jennifer Lopez's controlling tendencies. It's obvious something needs to change, but when Matt Damon started giving Ben Affleck advice, he totally blew up. It feels like history repeating itself, because 20 years ago, they stopped talking for that exact same reason.
Oh.
This seems like a common story, right?
Men, don't give up on your bros just because you're in a relationship.
Did anyone try to warn Will Smith? This is what I'm worried about. Is Ben Affleck on the road to becoming the next Will Smith?
Could be.
And Jennifer Lopez is the Jada Pinkett Smith to Ben Affleck's
How does
Will
a
Smith.
dude like Ben Affleck end up in a situation like that? I mean, you got to be.
Well, he's.
She had to have made his toes curl.
Yep.
Well, his previous marriage seems to have fallen apart because of his alcoholism, right? That was at least a factor. Yeah. And now he's still co-parenting with Jennifer Garner, and they have to see each other.
He looks way happier when he's with
Every
Jennifer
time
Garner.
that he's out with Jennifer Garner, seeing the kids, he looks so much happier and is actually capable of cracking a smile.
Yep.
And every time that he's on a red carpet with Jennifer Lopez, or especially when they were at the Grammys together,
Looks anxious.
he looks, he looks like all of those pictures of Johnny Depp with Amber Heard, actually, too. Like that look of just like pensive depression and anxiety.
He's like somebody calls his name and he ducks because he thinks there's a shoe going to come flying at him.
Yeah, I think they were even like photographed seemingly arguing on a red carpet together. Like he was like sternly looking at her and they were like pointing fingers at each other. And then there are all those photos of him getting Dunkin' Donuts coffee and like looking like he wants to die. Been there, done that, Ben. But this is a case that we see over and over again in Hollywood, but also in our real lives.
He goes back to the one that he had the toxic relationship with. The real way that this could have worked out, the happy ending, is if he starts out with Jennifer Garner, who he's really happy with, something happens, they break up, then he has the toxic relationship with Jennifer Lopez, then he goes back to the woman that made him happy in the first place, who he has kids with.
Yeah.
That's the fairy tale. Like he could
Well,
write
maybe that still could happen.
You never know.
Right.
I mean, like he has no problem going back to people who he's been in a relationship with because he's back with Jennifer Lopez. He also doesn't have a problem being with people who have been married multiple times because Jennifer Lopez has been married like 900,000 times.
Yeah, J-Lo's been engaged and married like 12 times or something crazy like that.
I think it's 6.
And look, if that's the case, it's you that's the problem. You're the common denominator. She definitely doesn't seem like the most stable person around.
She's just great. I guarantee you, she's just fantastic in bed. That's the real answer here.
I mean, likely.
Yes.
People have also said that she doesn't seem to be respecting Ben Affleck's sobriety because she's marketing her own alcohol brand and making videos about it and how she drinks so much.
Is he sober? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's business. Like he's like, it's not like he doesn't have to go with her to her photo shoots where she's like, now she's like, Ben, could you do a thing where you hold up the bottle? That's different.
It's just such a tale as old as time when a male friendship is broken apart by the new girlfriend or the new wife.
It's bad, man.
Who alienates him from the guy friends. This says Matt Damon can't keep quiet even if it means alienating Ben Affleck. Seeing his pal out there posing on one red carpet after another, playing up this role as J-Lo's arm candy makes Matt nauseous. He can't stand to see her emasculate Ben. And that's what made me think immediately, like, is this Jada Pinkett Smith, but hotter?
The funnier movie
Jada with hair.
The funnier movie here is it's actually the Matt Damon movie about a friendship lost. He's like, we were gonna make Good Will Hunting 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, they still have their production
now.
company together, right?
Yeah, they made
this is work and friendship and relationship mixed together.
Very sad.
Has anything been announced about their production company, what they were planning to do with it?
They made the movie about the creation of the Air Jordan that came out last year.
Did that movie do all right? It looked interesting, but
it was a streaming movie, so I don't know. Yeah, it didn't have the theater release. But, this is a tale as old as time. Guys, don't give up on your bros just because you're in a relationship. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're Ben Affleck. You can afford private jets and flying like whenever you want. Go see the homies.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, like it sounded like they got into an argument because Ben didn't like what Matt was saying. Yeah. And there's a little bit of Ben can just let that go in there too. Like if your buddy's like, hey man, look, you've had this problem before, this was an issue, I'm bringing it up. I don't know how the conversation went, obviously, because if Ben was like, yo, what are you, stupid, blah, 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 then obviously it's going to be it's going to be a problem. But like, if he's actually approaching you like, hey, look, man, and then you blow up, if the story is accurate that he blew up at him and that's why they're not friends anymore, like you could, chill out and be like, well, look, dude, I get it, but you got to let me without giving me too much hassle,
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
It says their friendship has taken a hit, strained to say the least, and lately they've been feeling the pressure after a year of being husband and wife. The honeymoon phase is over. They're still in love, but they're under a lot of pressure with work obligations, being in the spotlight, and blending their families. And a lot of people think that Jennifer Lopez is jealous of Jennifer Garner since this is the mother of his children, he's always going to have a special place for her in his heart. These situations get so messy for normal people. Imagine how much ramped up it is when people are watching your every move and analyzing every facial expression you make, which is exactly what we're doing now.
Maybe he's at a certain point, he's just going to start trolling people and start making the most just obscenely sad faces in public.
Yeah, he'll just start playing it up even more.
Like somebody should Photoshop pictures like she's having they finally have a kid together. I think she's in her 50s now. She's probably not having a kid. And it's like he just looks really sad while holding a newborn baby or something like that. It's just, or he could make, you know what he could do? He could make his own version of the movie Smile, but the opposite.
It's sad to see a man fall from grace.
I mean,
like
he's had a pretty rough couple of years, right? Like when he was in a really rough place when he was still playing Batman, the alcoholism and all that stuff. If she's not helpful with if she's not helpful or willing to work with him with the fact that he's got issues with alcoholism, that's going to put a big strain on the relationship, because if you've struggled for that long, sobriety is not just something you can pick up every day and expect to go well. It's something you have to actively pursue and work on. And if she's over here making him feel constantly on edge because he's got to go do stuff for his sobriety, and she's like, she doesn't understand it or doesn't support it. Again, I don't know this, but it does seem like maybe Jennifer Garner was probably the more nurturing of the.
Well, I wanted to know from either of your personal experiences being men and having these male friendships, have you been in a situation where you see that your friend is in a toxic relationship and you want to have a conversation with him about it, but he's kind of like, he has the blinders on? Like, have you been in that situation where you couldn't save him from that self-destruction?
I mean, no, because most of my time when I was young, I was a complete drunk. So it's not like I was in a position to be like, yo, dude.
Sometimes you're more involved in your own stuff.
Yeah, I was more like, where's the vodka?
I was a mess, so I was in no place to give anyone advice.
True.
on anything. I've been in my first serious relationship, I would have fallen into this category where I definitely stopped. Were you the friend that you were the Ben Affleck in the situation?
I mean, I'm divorced, so clearly I've had, less than, or I've had a little, failure with relationships or experience with failed relationships.
Yeah.
So,
I've been in that position before. It's weird because a lot of times it feels like it's partly infatuation, and sometimes it can be a self-esteem issue, like you're giving them all your time. And you got to learn to be able to do your own thing, because if you have no hobbies, or you're not going and seeing your friends, it's not exactly attractive to have somebody who wants to spend literally all their time with you. You have to have your own life and be doing your own thing. Otherwise, you're not the person they wanted to be with in the first place.
You're not a person.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah,
it is sad when someone gets in a relationship and they seem to just fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And you don't hear from them ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I fall off the face of the earth without a relationship all the time.
Yeah, you don't even need that.
I don't even people.
You don't need an excuse.
I would be like, sorry guys, I disappeared. I've been with my lady lately. They'd be like, what? You were gone? Well, you're never here. How can you be gone?
Well, the way it usually goes is then that relationship falls apart. The friend comes back with their tail between their legs, and you're like, told you so.
Well, you shouldn't say "told you so." You should just.
You think it, but you don't say it.
You don't say it to them.
They're already saying it to themselves, hopefully. Yeah.
So I think what Ben needs to do is he needs to go back to jail, or to Jennifer Garner.
Jail.
To Jennifer Garner. I almost said J-Lo. To Jennifer Garner. And what he needs to do is they need to get together and make a Daredevil movie again. That's what they should do. They should get him back to do a really bad Daredevil movie, and she can play Elektra again. It'll be fantastic. Or
rekindle their first love.
Or what they can do here, I'll make another one. Or he can come back and do The Accountant Part 2, and she can come back for Peppermint Part 2, and we can have the grieving homicidal mother and the kind of murderous autistic accountant in a movie where they go on a crime spree across the country, and they'll fall back in love on the movie set.
That's funny. So in Jennifer Lopez, was it The Mother?
Oh God, that movie.
She also played like the grieving homicidal mother, but she didn't really pull it off, according to you.
She just looked disinterested the whole time. She just looks really like bored. Like her attempt to play stoic, like stoic and hard is just she looks like she's mad at you, and she's just like whatever.
But Jennifer Garner did that role.
She played like
better.
a grieving mom.
Yeah.
In Peppermint. So what we need is we need those two to come together. If there's any Hollywood producers with love in their hearts still, what I need you guys to do is to go pitch this movie to both of them and bring them back. And then after you make that movie and they get back together, then you can make the romantic comedy about them getting back together, and you get a twofer.
Does Ben Affleck just need to be with someone not named Jennifer?
Yes.
Maybe that would help.
That might be it.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
People are like, that's a terrible idea. They're saying that like I was saying, like that was my actual pitch. Like I actually want them to
that's your
to
actual
come back
pitch.
and do it. Look, we need a little love in our hearts these days, guys. Just bring them back. Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said the cucumber Sherlock was great. It was.
Yes, it was.
The way that he just like, all those scenes where he's doing his mind palace thing and he's like flipping around on an iPad in his mind. Tacti Plati said, you guys forget the bad guy in Ace Ventura was a trans woman and had many jokes about it being gross. That can't be done anymore. Einhorn is Finkel?
Finkel is Einhorn.
Einhorn
is Finkel. Einhorn's a man. And then you get the gay panic.
And everybody puking.
You really can't. And let's face it, the lady who did that role was great as that character.
Oh yeah,
she's just a jerk, and it's awesome. And everyone should go watch that movie.
Tacti Plati said Brett and Phil are great. They reply to their DMs. Smiley face. I don't reply to
not all of them.
most DMs, so I hope you're not offended.
The rule with that is like, look, you're busy. Like you don't necessarily have time to answer every DM or even most DMs.
Maybe I'm not busy. Maybe I just don't want to.
No, I'm just saying in general, right? But like the best way to approach this is like if it starts to be a person who like when you don't respond, they get really offended. That's a red flag, right? Like you have to understand that people are busy or sometimes you just don't have the freaking emotional bandwidth. I barely have the emotional bandwidth to socialize most days in the real world. Sometimes in the digital world, it's somehow even worse because it's like, I don't ever like I'm one of those people, like if I don't have an instant thought on what to say, I can't come back to it when I have something to say. I just forget about it.
Shane H. Wilder said, I'm proud to say that all I did online during Christmas was post a Merry Christmas message, and I scheduled that so I could focus on family time.
Awesome.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Bucky Ducky said, yes, sir, I will do what you tell me, Rage Against the Machine 2024.
Yep.
And also, Brett, Dax needs a dog coat. She gets too cold.
You know what you should get it? Remember when that like AI picture of the Pope went viral with the puffy white coat? Get him that coat.
So now you're pro putting dogs
Only
in coats.
that coat for a dog. Well, he's claiming it needs it. Okay, he's saying, I'm going off the basis of need here.
Sometimes the fur isn't enough.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Tomsky said that is exactly what I'd expect a 65-year-old Madonna trying to dance like a millennial would look like. LOL. Dubby Nanners said, gagging being a good thing, I can only see that as not family friendly, Mary. I can think of some independent filmmakers that might agree. Okay, I'm talking about Stan Twitter language. Yeah. It's more like RuPaul's Drag Race Stan Twitter language.
My guess would be that most of the people that are watching this don't enter into that sphere very often.
Yeah. I come across it from time to time. JTR11 said, this chick for sure has a short position on Disney.
Yeah.
The, what was her name again? Charmin
Obaid Chinoy. And if I'm pronouncing
she's just like, you'll watch this, and she just shorts it and then goes out and train wrecks it. She's like, you thought you were paying me a lot of money, but I took that money and I shorted your stock, and then I drove the movie into the ground and made millions more than you to pay.
That would be hilarious.
That would be absolutely hilarious.
She makes it bad, just bets big, and then shorts the
stock, and then makes an absolute train wreck of a movie, and then runs away with the bag, takes their money and shorts the stock with their money.
With a big evil
That would be
cackle.
the best. Yeah, that would be hilarious. Then I would totally endorse the woman, however she felt about men. I don't care.
DCNC said, I like how Phil says fiduciary. Make it a song lyric, bro.
Fiduciary?
Yeah.
I put Keynesianism in a song once. Don't think I won't.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible, especially when I'm writing the song.
Shane H. Wilder said, when she said she likes to make men uncomfortable, I thought Brett was leaning over to get sick. Same, Brett, same. Also, what fiduciary responsibility? They are fiduciaries.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
What?
Serenco Productions said it's not like we have like 15 carbon copies of Kathleen Kennedy in Star Wars already massacring the once great universe or
I know,
anything.
right? They're just like, we're going to put a bunch of different, or a bunch of the same person. It's all Kathleen Kennedy.
Baron of Grey Matter, the Ninja Bear said, Mary back in black like AC/DC, Phil and Brent following her. Yeah, we're all matching today. Stevie Nicks is 75 and looks better and sings better than Madonna. Just shows real stars shine over long periods of time. Yeah, but isn't Stevie Nicks like super like rabid pro-abortionist?
Probably.
And credits her abortion for her success. Not sure it's worth it. Corey Anderson said, Phil, do you see a lot of Timcast fans at your shows now?
I mean, I only started this year, and we haven't done a tour since, I started with Tim in February of last year, and we haven't done a tour, so not right now. But I'll let you know in May. We've got a tour coming in May. So
look for like the beanie section of the.
Porco Rosso Forever said, thanks, Phil. I've been saying Marx is the Antichrist for years. My mom's tired of hearing about it.
He called himself that. I mean, he there's not a whole lot. He didn't mince words about that. So.
Well, he might have called himself that. Doesn't mean that he was.
Oh, well, okay. So no, again, the spiritual aspect of it. Personally, I don't believe there's actually an Antichrist. There are people that will, but I don't. So it's still like his behavior is anti to what Christianity wants, and he said that himself.
Shane H. Wilder said, to Mary's point on wokeness, remember Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals was dedicated to Satan. That should tell you all you want to know. Yes. CJ McLean said, Phil, you need to do another show at Mount Tom. Saw you guys with Kill Switch, and it was one of my favorite shows I've been to.
Well, I don't know that they do shows at Mount Tom, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the show, but I remember that show. That was not one of my favorite shows.
There you go.
A lot of things.
Do you want to expand on that?
Well, just a lot of things went wrong. It was raining. There was a lot of issues with the sound and audio and stuff. So
this happens to me and Mary sometimes. We'll be done. We'll be like,
that sucked.
We're like, wow,
Oh, yeah.
that was bad.
Oh yeah. There are times you get off stage. Sometimes you'll get off stage and we can all laugh about it.
Yeah.
Then there are times when you get off stage and no one says a word. You know, like and it depends on who had a bad show and what it was. But like if I'm very low maintenance, so just so long as I can hear the click and I can hear myself, I can get through it because I can hear the rest of the band on stage. I can hear the drums. I can get through the set. There are people, and not now, but there have been people where if their monitors were off, their in-ear monitors were off, they would train wreck and make a mess, and that tends to make people more upset than like, having.
Yeah.
A small issue, obviously. It pisses the rest of the band off. Like if the drummer messes up and then we train wreck a song, the whole band's pissed off at the drummer. If your guitar player misses a part, he can just ring out and just be like, oh, I'll find my spot and come back in. So.
But does the crowd notice things like that or no?
Drums, yes, because drums can frequently mean that you have to stop playing. If you got a really good drummer, he can mess up and he can figure out where he is and play, right? Especially if you got a click, because everyone's playing to the click or to the drums, but it's all at the same tempo and stuff. If you got a drummer that can't jump back on, then you're going to end up having to stop the song and start the song over. And
that happened a lot?
Oh, not a lot, but sometimes. It all depends on what goes and what happens. So.
Does hearing the click in your ear drive you crazy?
I don't even hear it.
No?
I know it's there, but when the rest of the band is playing, I don't hear it at all. The only time I hear it is when everything stops and there's a pause, and that's part of the reason why it's there is when the drums aren't playing, I can have something that's keeping me in time. If I have to sing stuff, there's times where I have to sing on, in time without drums being there. And then once the drums come in, the click just falls into the rest of the music. Normal people might hear it and be annoyed by it, but I'm so used to hearing it just from performing, recording, whatever, that if it's going, it disappears for me unless like, you know, it's not there, and I'm just like, oh, hey, I need to have that. So. Yeah. Or if it isn't matching up with the drums, obviously then it comes out. But when the click is on the 2 and the 4 or whatever, however it's broken up, you're hearing the click every time there's a drum hit. So it kind of becomes a part of that.
I would just think with someone like Taylor Swift who's like doing a piano ballad or something, it would. I feel like that would drive me crazy. Like hearing it.
I love playing to a click. When you're maybe it's because I'm a musician, I'm so used to it, but like I absolutely love playing to a click. I hate not having a click. I feel like the tempo goes up and down, and people aren't on the same page, and it's I like that click.
TL1524 said, "Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay."
Absolutely.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, "With all the cringe, can we get here, I'll do it. She's a wicked witch who belongs in hell." There you go.
Hell! I wish I could hit that like the way you did. Ow!
Shane H. Wilder said, "I'm curious who Shia picked as a confirmation saint. If I were a betting man, I would say Saint Augustine. I'm happy for him." Yeah, I don't know. I just know that a lot of Catholics really disliked the Padre Pio movie.
Yes.
And I wonder if he's going to talk about it or what he thought of the outcome.
They made him convert just to as like penance for making that movie.
Corey Anderson said Kevin Spacey is a great actor, though. Only Denzel is better.
Denzel is my favorite actor of all time.
Denzel's really good.
21 Catkinson said, "Hate watching Outlast, as in the contestants do some crazy backstabbing to win." To answer your question, Brett, love the show, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you.
The Undertaker said, "Best joke I heard today. Can a woman make a man a millionaire? Yes, but he needs to be a billionaire first. It's funny because it's true."
It's funny because it's true.
Did that happen to Bill Gates when he got divorced?
Yes. Oh, I don't. I mean, he's probably still a billionaire.
He's still a billionaire. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. That Stanzatastic said, "Don't forget that Ben loves taco flavored kisses." What?
Guys, this weekend, go watch your favorite Ben Affleck movie. Like, for me, it'll be The Town, which is a really, really good movie. So go watch The Town this weekend.
Hiroshima Otaru said J-Lo looks like standard bitchy wife Jada, pure evil.
Maybe so this is what we do.
So it's different levels.
So what we do is we get Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner to make their Peppermint X the Accountant movie, and then we get J-Lo and Jada to make modern day Thelma and Louise.
Oh. Could they get along?
I don't know. Probably. Like they're like they could be evil. Their evilness will make them compatible.
Not a newbie dude said, "Having been in that position, be very blunt about what is making the relationship toxic. People were being nice and weren't saying why it was toxic." So you were the Ben Affleck. Got it. Nicoy Blackfield said, "No acknowledging Jersey Jerry's hole in one. Shame."
In reference to what?
I don't know. Carnell said, "Mary, what can we do as crisis actors to convince you to watch a double feature of 2003's Daredevil and the American classic that is..." Wait, how do I say it? Gigli?
Okay, you know how Star Wars fans feel about the Star Wars Christmas special? Mm-hmm. That's how most normal people feel about Gigli.
Gigli was a bad movie.
It was like, it's Ben Affleck.
It's Star Wars holiday special bad?
It's Ben Affleck's Cuban Missile Crisis. It's Ben Affleck's Tiananmen Square. It's not good.
It's not.
Ben Affleck's Tiananmen Square.
It's probably Kevin Smith's worst movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm a Kevin Smith fan, though. So
you should cry more, because that's what Kevin Smith does now. He just cries.
Listen, I'm a child of the '90s. Kevin Smith was cutting edge and was great in the '90s. Clerks was like literally my friend group.
I'm looking this up. So why did people dislike the 2003 Daredevil?
Because it's just not a good comic book movie. Though it's got a good example of a race swap that people didn't care about. It's got Michael Clark Duncan as Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But
that was it was before it was a thing to do race swapping.
Yes.
You know, it's like you didn't notice because it was like, oh, okay.
nobody cared. Plus, a lot of the audience wouldn't have been comic book fans, so they wouldn't have known, right? Like it's I don't hate those movies, but I look, I'm a fan of old bad comic book movies. They don't bother me. Like I don't have a problem with that one. I can even sit through Elektra, even though it's objectively an awful movie. Like those don't bother me. So get them back. And I made that joke. I just made the joke about them doing the accountant and Peppermint, but they really could come back for their own awful Daredevil and Elektra movie. Since they're making that shitty Echo show with the shitty fight scene with Charlie Cox's Daredevil that everybody saw, you know, what's there to lose? The Marvel Cinematic Universe sucks now anyways.
True. Tacti Platy said, LMAO, I have lots of my own followers. I need to read their DMs. No smoke at you, Mary. Just patting Phil and Brett on the back for being better than I. Got it. Serenko Productions said, Phil, I don't know if I've asked. Taylor Swift the Antichrist?
No.
No.
God, no.
No? Just because you like her? Just because you're a fan? Because you're a Swiftie?
She's well, okay, look, if she gets into some form of politics, then maybe we can start actually talking about it. But right now, the Antichrist is supposed to be a guy. Taylor's not a guy.
That we know of.
Well, okay, so, allegedly. She's rumored to not be a guy. And
is this like a serious theory that...
Well, he's the one who brought it up, not me.
Okay.
Like, I'm not the one that thinks. I'm just telling him that she's clearly not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all the things that, you know, there are things that go along, like, that have to be met to be the Antichrist.
Right.
And she doesn't even start. So,
right.
No.
Corey Anderson said, when you say click, do you mean metronome?
Yes.
Yes.
Metronome, yes.
Shane H. Wilder said, thanks, Mary. And yeah, the Padre Pio movie was bad. I don't even want to... I was planning to watch it before when I heard about it, but then when people started reviewing it, like, I just didn't even want to... Tell me if I should watch it or if I should actively avoid it.
We're halfway to a fifth crisis party, guys. Can we get a fifth crisis party?
We're actively on the way.
Mary, just so you know, he was ignoring you.
Yeah.
I didn't see the...
Wait, so how many crisis parties for me to do the double feature? I didn't actually answer the question.
They asked. Yeah, so how many?
How about if you get us to 7 on this episode?
Oof, there you go. That's a quite an ask.
You have a time limit.
Yep, it's coming up.
Corey Anderson said, taco flavored kisses for my Ben. That Stanzatastic said, wait, are you telling me you don't know about taco flavored kisses from South Park?
Oh, God, I love it.
It's a South Park reference, but I don't watch South Park.
It's a great South Park reference.
And then there's one more here from Bucky Ducky. Says, a year ago, I asked the woman of my dreams to go out with me. Yesterday, I asked her to marry me. Congratulations.
Congrats. Did she say yes?
It's funnier if she says no.
Well, he didn't elaborate,
right.
Did it happen, though? Well, congrats if she did say yes.
He says, $2. He says both times she said no.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, that's rough,
the
man.
Bad ending.
That's rough, man. All right. Well, I don't think, Mary, that you're going to have to watch that double feature because they would have to get a lot done in a very short period of time.
They've done it before. Like, I believe you're capable of it, guys.
We got one more here from Shane H. Wilder. Says, don't watch it. The blasphemy of the Blessed Mother made me physically ill.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
There you go. All right, guys, before we go, would you please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. We are working our way ever so slowly to 100,000 subscribers. We've been picking up. We've had a couple of reels and shorts and stuff that have got great traction. It's fantastic to see the channel grow, so thank you guys all so much for that. Phil, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on X at Phil That Remains. Well, it's Twix. I'm Phil That Remains. I'm Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Pandora, YouTube. You know, the internet.
The internet. We got one more here, two more here. We got one from Tacti Platy who says Baja Blast will be nationwide all year for 2024. I thought it already was nationwide.
It's not?
I guess not.
Okay. It's not good, though.
I see it.
Like, we don't need that to happen.
I've never been a Baja Blast fan.
I have no problem with it. We made it with Vera that one time. Remember, I made
yeah.
homemade Baja Blast.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And it came out all right?
It was fine. The color okay, so there was two versions of it, right? If you got the color to match, the taste didn't right. The taste didn't right. If you got the color to match, it didn't taste right. If you got the taste to match, the color didn't look right.
It's a delicate process.
It's not easy. Got one more here
It's a
from
science.
Doc Savage as we get even closer to
The
that
taste
fifth
is more
crisis.
important, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Just don't do it in a clear cup then, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
From Doc Savage says, you guys should see 2003's Tiptoes with Matthew McConaughey, Peter Dinklage, and Gary Oldman. That's really nails some issues of dwarfism. Wait, is that the one? Holy crap. I think I know which one he's talking about. I never saw this one, but I remember this one. Like, this is one of those like movies that would have the people who would... Have you ever seen those YouTube channels that talk about like crazy old movies that would never be made today? This was like Tiptoes.
The movies don't even have to be that old to not be made today. Like, you could stop that at like 2012.
I got it was like two fraternal brothers, a dwarf, and one of typical size. When Steve's girlfriend Carol becomes pregnant, the pair are fearful that the baby will inherit the dwarfism gene. Matters are complicated still further when she finds out that she's falling in love with Rolf, the dwarf.
Phil, can you send that image of Brett to Brett right now?
Sure.
There's a photo of you like
It's
looking
that one. You're
absolutely
tagged in it.
dejected.
You're tagged in it, Brett, so you can check your. I'll retweet it too, though.
I just want to share that.
Looks like you're
I want to
trying to-
share Brett's
Send it to
misery.
me on on Slack.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Send it to me on Slack, and I will be able to get it as we get closer to that fifth crisis party and we run out the clock here.
It's okay.
Running out the clock.
I'm gonna do this here. It's waiting for it to come from Phil here.
Yeah, I gotta get it. I'm working on it.
I do. Do I look really dejected? I'm sure I do.
You look hilarious.
I love when you do the thing like where you pull your eyelids down.
It's cathartic to
It
do
really is.
I love when you do that.
It's
thing.
cathartic to watch you do it.
that. DC&C says, have a soda, Brett. Nay. I'm a month without soda as of yesterday.
Good for you. Check your inbox.
It's in the Mary Phil
That's fine.
group message. Yes.
Okay.
It's solid. It's very.
Can you
solid.
make that your profile picture
Um,
on X?
look,
He can. The question is, will he?
Are you going
Come on,
to?
Brett. Come on, Brett.
It would be good.
I look really happy right there. That's me knowing I'm not getting a fifth crisis party. All right, guys. All right, Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
We got one more here from Corey Anderson. He says, what side of the bed do you sleep on? I always go closest to the door in case of a fire. Wife would panic and get in the way. So it's his wife's fault that he has to sleep closer to the door.
My bed isn't big enough that there
Is
is
a
a
side?
side.
Perfect.
So
Right side. Right side.
Why?
for me. Not because I have to lean over on the bedside table with my good ear up
oh.
so that I can hear.
Okay.
Like otherwise I won't hear my alarm and I'll sleep right through it. I managed to get up earlier today. I didn't sleep in like an absolute bum.
What
like I
time
had
is sleeping
last-
in?
10 on a weekday is like 10, and yesterday was almost 11, and it was very like I woke up and I was
The
really
show turned out fine.
no, that's the thing. Like it's my own weird form of guilt where I don't actually like I actually get a lot of work done the night before just in case something like that happens. It's more just a sense of guilt. Like I slink into the studio knowing it's later than it should be, and
Well, I mean, just if you're. The show doesn't start till 3, so it's not like you have to be up at like.
I mean, a big part of it is like, look, we got thumbnails to make, we've got like visual elements to organize. There's a lot that has to happen, but also it's just it's just
literally
guilt.
our job is like harder than the Navy SEALs,
Of course.
basically. So
it's so difficult.
yeah,
Okay, now they're pissed about that.
But do you
one.
have to hold your breath as much?
that was a joke.
We got
Obviously, you don't have to hold your breath to make a podcast.
We got two more here. The Underp Taker says Brett looks half Korean. Tim would approve. In that photo,
What?
I mean,
You're of Eastern European Slavic ancestry.
yes.
Are you Slavic?
I'm Croatian and Polish.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you know.
Not even a white guy.
Yeah, that's right. I get to be. I'm this company's diversity hire for
You
real.
are.
Could be Eurasian.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
a word.
All right, guys.
That's
So
a
there's
big-
another one, right?
Was there one more down there? Where'd it go? Oh yeah, here it
Yeah.
is. It says, "Don't think that just because I got a lot of money, I'm just I'll give you taco flavored kisses, honey, to fill all your wishes with my taco flavored kisses. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito, taco, taco. Yes. Perfect. Now, dude, we're so close. Somebody make it happen. I'm not ending the stream until it's done. Now it's too close to the end.
Yeah, we can
my
just
God.
sit here and wait.
Now it's okay. I'm gonna go very, very slowly as we do the outro here, guys. Again, Pop Culture Crisis is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard
Someone
Time.
said I have a race car bed. Yeah, I go home every night to my race car bed.
What kind of car would your race car bed be, though?
I don't know. I don't freaking know.
All right, one more here from
Sorry.
DCC says Bobby Lee vibes. No. I may probably the same height though. All right, guys. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen rather than watch the show, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you would like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow, unless
There's another super chat.
Did I miss one?
That you didn't read?
Where?
From
Oh.
Corey Anderson.
Says Code Red is better.
No, before that one too.
Where? Oh, he says, Brett, you need the messaging hand alarm from the movie Summer School. I don't know what that is.
Massaging hand alarm.
I want that one. Have you guys seen that bed that's like for deaf people? That it just throws you out of the bed. It just starts violently shaking and it basically like throws you out of the bed. I need that because when I fall asleep on my good ear,
That'd be a high stress way to start the day.
If I sleep on my good ear, I don't hear anything, and I sleep the whole day away. So we got one more here for Bucky Ducky. Says, your parents are so thin, they are not your parents. They are your trans parents.
That's
What?
actually kind of funny. In a dad joke kind of way.
Transparent? They're so thin?
Oh.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay.
Looks like we got that fifth crisis party, so stay tuned to the post-credit scene. There will be another one. We will be back with another episode tomorrow, guys. Disco Jensen leaves us with Let's Have a Party. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Christmas party. 2 more super chats. One from Bucky Ducky says, I also have some unemployment jokes, but they don't work. Also, DCNC says, poll, which we ended. Spaghetti wins with 60% of the vote. See you tomorrow, guys.